Misty, would you call the roll, please?
Dave Burris,
Here.
J.R. Huddleston,
Here.
Deborah Johnston. Here. Bill Lukens.
Here.
Larry Pratt,
Here.
Craig
Present.
Rooney, Gary Telkamp,
Here.
Linda Barbell. Here. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was going to say amen after this.
Say what? Yes, I'm strange.
Member council, if you have comments.
Yeah.
They got a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. And can I get a motion to waive the council pay for tonight's special meeting?
Make a motion to waive the council pay for tonight's
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Communications from the public? Don't have any public. Before I hand this off to Misty, I'd like to thank Misty and Ariel for putting all this together, meeting with department heads, giving us a good start for the 2027 budget. Got a couple things I'd like to hand out to you. I think Ariel may have sent you an email regarding these. One of them is from Chief Norton, the other one is from our attorneys. It's marked confidential, so please make sure that you're the only ones that do it. We won't discuss these until we get to the police department, but I want to make them available. Misty and Ariel, you folks were included on this.
Yeah, we have.
I appreciate everybody going over the facts for the fine-tooth comb. So if you have great questions for the budget. With that, Misty, would you like to lead us into the rest of the evening?
Sure try. A couple of updates before we start tonight. I doubt we'll get to the pro shop machinery and equipment budget, but we eliminated the 10 new golf courts for $75,500, which eliminated the need for a subsidy, and that positively impacted the 212 fund, which is now projected to end the year with a $30,298 profit. And we corrected an oversight in which an expense remained in the Highway, Streets, and Roadways Services and Fees budget after being transferred to the 212 fund. So this correction reduced the general fund's projected deficit to $371,565, which is less than I had in the email I sent out to you, those of you that checked your emails today. So we'll get to those when we get to them, but there's a difference in what was sent in the original email to prepare you for this meeting and those figures. And then one more thing before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to recognize and thank our city administrator, Ariel Allison. Her partnership throughout this year's budget process has been fantastic, and I honestly can't remember an easier budget season. that's gone more smoothly than this one. She established clear expectations and timelines for our department heads early in the process, and although it required a great deal of work from everyone involved, each department met the deadlines and submitted well-prepared budget proposals. That level of preparation allowed us to come into these workshops with meaningful information and has made the process much more efficient. I appreciate your leadership and willingness to work with the department heads to get these things done on time, and your work beside me has been fantastic, and I think we're going to have productive budget discussions over the next 2 evenings, largely in part for the work that gets done behind the scenes, so thank you for that. As we begin our plan for the meetings, we'll focus on reviewing the revenue estimates for all funds first, followed by the expenditures for the smaller governmental funds, and time permitting, a few of the less complex departments. Our goal is to wrap up by 9 p.m., hopefully each night. We'll reconvene on Thursday to work through what's remaining. And I think when we approach it in these stages, we can keep our conversations focused, give each department the attention it deserves, and make best use of time for everybody. I am happy that nobody here is brand new to this, so this is very similar to the way we've done it in the past. The preliminary budget reflects deficits in the general fund, the 211 liquor, lodging, and dining fund, the water fund, and the Evans Plunge Fund. Over the next 2 evenings, we'll review together, ask questions, discuss priorities, and identify opportunities to reduce or eliminate the projected deficits, while continuing to provide the level of service our community expects and deserves. I encourage everyone to keep the big picture in mind. Every adjustment, whether large or small, contributes to achieving a balanced and financially responsible budget. And I think with that, we'll get started unless anybody has any questions. Great. So for those of you following along, I think we'll just start with the 101 revenue. I feel like I do a lot of talking during this since nobody's really new to this. I'm not sure that we need to run through every number unless I want to point out something that's changed. But if anybody has any questions, as you're following along in your Banyan budget worksheet, you can see the year-to-date figures. So I'm just going to start with the general property taxes. I have $1,467,388 projected. $467,388 projected. And then for delinquent, which are very hard to estimate, we have 20. The other big one in the general fund that I will hit on is the general sales and use tax. I have $1,620,000 estimated here. It's hard to know where the following year is going to go, but I'm fairly comfortable with those projections. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about those? Okay. Penalties and interest on delinquent taxes, $5,500. Then all the liquor and beer licenses. I think when I looked at the year-to-date on that one, we were pretty high, but I'm not sure that we'll be as high for the following year. So I have 35. I entertain, anybody stop me anytime you want to change any of these. Any increase to our revenue obviously makes our deficit in the general fund go down. I'm going to skip through the other licenses unless anybody has any objections or changes to any of those numbers, and go down to the state shared revenue, which includes bank franchise tax, prorate license fees, liquor tax reversions, motor vehicle licenses, which I have a note on the motor vehicle licenses. If you'll note, the 2025 total is significantly lower than the years before. I asked the county to provide additional information related to the decrease, and they could not. That's concerning to me, but I don't know what else we can do about that. They said theirs was down as well. They sent me the reports that showed it. So I budgeted less for 2027 than we did for 2026, based on what was collected in 2025. The other one highlighted is the library allotment from the county. In the past, we had budgeted $25,000 for that. In 2026, our library received notice that the county only approved $5,000. So $5,000 is what I put in the 2027 budget. Our Golden West capital credits are paid once a year in September. They now apply some to bills in certain circumstances, depending on dollar amounts. So I have a $5,500 estimate in there. The other one you'll notice that's down is the SRO. So Special Police Services includes LexisNexis. I'm not sure exactly what, it's a background checking thing. Our police department participates in it. We get small checks, so that's all that's left in that revenue code. I did not budget anything for steel and recycling. They choose to do that when they have big piles and the rates are good, but I feel like it's better left out of the budget. It's not that they're not gonna do that when the time is right, it's just hard to know.
Which one is steel and recycling?
It's the other highways and streets where there's nothing, but you'll notice in the previous years, there's always been money coming in.
When you said steel and recycling.
Right.
See that?
I did drop the airport fuel sales to 70,000 from our projected 80 this year due to 2025's collection of 73. I'm not against raising that a little bit, but I think when we look year to date, we're probably closer to the figure I'm estimating for this year. Cemetery grave digging charges continues to, do you have questions?
Prices of fuel are up, but sales are down right now, right?
Well, and I do think that those kind of things are down nationwide with the cost of fuel being up, so. We continue to do our own cemetery grave digging, so I did put $6,500 in there. We typically make more than that. We are still continuing, if somebody came in and wanted to do that for us, it would lighten up the workload on our maintenance folks, but we're continuing to do it because nobody has been interested thus far.
Nobody can make money digging a hole.
Are you sure?
Huh?
Yeah, we have been, but we don't want to. Again, if, I think that's one that, you know, year to date, I'm at 11,000. If we wanted to bump that, I wouldn't be against it, but if mid-year somebody came to town and said, hey, I'm in the excavation business and I want to dig your cemetery graves, I think we'd gladly turn it over. So I felt pretty comfortable with that number. If nobody stops me, I'm gonna keep going. Interest earned, I have a question mark by that one. I'd love to think that it's gonna be greater. Yes,
This animal control fines,
yes.
956, we're down to $100.
You know, we did not support, and we didn't get the support from the legal system for some of the fines that we tried to apply. We've never budgeted for as much as we've received. Last year it was 500. The most we collected was 956. So animal control fines I have budgeted at 100.
Is that one of those things that you had said in your notes that now that we're gonna have a new district attorney, that might change?
I think those were Ariel's notes,
Was it
or maybe it was
Ariel's?
Ross's notes, but boy, I'm not sure, because it usually shouldn't get to that point. Our contract providers would issue a ticket, and somebody should just come directly to us to pay it. The one we did take to court last year didn't pan out in our favor, even though we had pictures and all the evidence. The judge ruled in favor of the defendant, so maybe, maybe not, I don't know. Interest earned is hard to gauge, so that's another one that, you know, I may bump up a little if you wanted, but we have no idea what the rates are gonna do, and I feel like being more modest is the appropriate approach, but if anybody wanted to increase that,
Being conservative, isn't
no, especially in revenue projections. We did talk about building rent for the Mueller Center and how it's time to look at raising those rates. If you remember, we left them out of the last increases that we did, and they promised to look at them, and when they were talking budget this year, they identified that for 2027, it's time to look at the rates and do a comparison and maybe raise some of those, but I still left it at 25,000 because we have not quite hit that. Previous years, although we did just go over it in 2025.
Do you have suggestions for those rate increases?
We'll be working on them. They will come before you. And it won't be effective probably until 2027 is what we're looking at. So I did not, typically when we do rate increases, I don't try to project for those. I'll wait till the money's collected. So by hopefully 2028, we'll see that number move up a little bit. We did break out T-hangers from hanger rentals a few years ago. So although that airport hangar rental number is down, the T-hanger rental number is up a little bit in projections. We do have the same amount, a little bit more projected for our airport lease and hay revenue, although we're not going to be collecting any hay revenue for this year, so.
What is it?
Because there's no hay, because it's not irrigated, so it's not worth cutting. Yeah. Library pretty much remains the same. We put nothing in the DARE program. If you remember, it's fully funded by donations, so we have a separate equity account. If some expenses came up for DARE, they do have money to subsidize the budget with those restricted equity dollars. Then we get into our liquor operating revenue. If someone could compare the spreadsheets with the fund accounting and let me know if there's any projections that you think need raised or lowered in these. If you would like, I can go through and read these, or you can just do that on your own and pick out any. Again, try to be reasonable in my revenue projections, but not overestimate. And it's kind of hard to tell because collection is a month in arrears for these.
Misty, do we need to adjust jalapenos since they're probably not going to be in business the rest of the year?
Do you think they'll not be in business next year?
Okay.
And I thought about that, and I think their plan is to get reopened and going as soon as they can, so.
I'm thinking this year, so
Yeah.
I withdraw my comment.
Yep, well, it's a great comment, and we'll continue to watch it for this year, and if we're gonna fall too short of our revenue projections, we'll have to address that, but hopefully we'll see overages on some of the others. Because those people that went out to eat there hopefully will
Yeah.
frequent other
Well, that
places.
was one of the thoughts.
Good thought. But if you're okay with leaving the projection, I figured by 2027 they would hopefully be open again, and,
Yeah, I talked to somebody today, and they said they're pushing hard on that
yeah,
fair.
that's what I understood as well.
What about Frankie's place? I noticed there's a business that went in there.
Yeah, they don't have a liquor license yet.
And what is it, like that one over?
Pawn shop?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It's still guns.
It's just a headache,
right.
so all the.
If it's a pawn shop, they need to get licensed,
Yeah,
and
they
I don't
haven't
remember
pawned yet,
doing
but
a
You're
license.
just doing restoration of the building right
Okay.
now.
they did all get those coins out of the other bar.
Wraps up with our cable TV franchise fee. Our workers' comp audit refund is the recovery of prior year expenditures. Our operating transfers in, which I left is the same estimates as last year. Yes,
Back up to the liquor.
yep.
How come Yes weighs 32,000 and like the Legion's 11,000? Wouldn't you think that?
Wouldn't you think that? Yeah. Yes, wait, year to date, and again, remember they're 30 days behind, so they're at 14.8 year to date. So I'm estimating 32. And then what was the other one you said?
Well, the Legion, you think it'd be higher than that, but
Yeah,
4,000.
but that's not what they've collected. I don't know the differences between the sales. Maybe the off sale is a big part of it. We do get the invoices directly from the wholesalers, so to determine what they need. And year to date, the Legion is only at 4,300. So again, so with no other questions in the general fund, I have $4,095,688 as the projected revenue. And if you remember, that carries over to our 101 fund totals to give us our deficit. So any projected changes or questions on that one?
One more question. How come the grocery stores ain't in that?
They are. Sunny Superfood is 36821 and Lynn's is 36816, and they are
How
big.
come I'm not seeing them?
They're all under liquor revenue, so,
Sunny's is under Pizza Hut.
no? Oh, you mean, I was gonna say it's under Sunny's, but, Lynn's,
Okay.
and then.
Just not going down for it.
Yes, Sunny's. Those are big ones, so good question. We wouldn't want to leave those out. All right, the next one is our 211 fund. That's our liquor, lodging, and dining fund. And really, none of our fund descriptions have changed over the years, so I use the same budget guide to explain what each of the funds are for, but stop me if you have any questions. I have 218,000 projected for revenue in that fund. Year to date, we're at 76,580. This fund also, they get their boost in the summer months because it's gross receipts tax, so liquor, lodging, dining, amusement, places of amusement is when they see their busiest months, and 80% of that goes directly to the chamber. We'll get to that when we get to expenses. Our additional sales tax fund, that gets that gets 1/3 of our general sales and use tax. I have that projected at 810,000. Then we have some small payments left on our Boulder Falls assessment, road assessment. So those three total $870,235 projected revenue in our 212 fund. Our bid fund is another area where I lowered the revenue projection for occupancy tax collection. I hope to see that continue to go up. We've been working with about 3 of our larger motels that have become delinquent in the remittance of their occupancy tax. We've had some good results with some and some not so good results with others, and 2 of those 3 did change ownership. So they changed hands, and waiting for some support from our attorneys to determine what to do for those that are not cooperating with the delinquency letters that have been sent. So I did lower that from 89 to 75.
Do we have any way of making sure our Airbnbers are paying up what they
It's-
should be?
Yes, we look at all the websites where those are offered, and we make sure that those people know and are aware of our occupancy tax, those that we see on those websites offering their homes, but it's on the honor system. So we do get collections. They're small. They're nowhere near the big hotels, so that's not really where the big impact is coming from. But we do have a 15 to 20 on our list that do remit sporadically.
We've also attempted to reach out to Airbnb and see if it's a tax they could, include on their website so it shows when you check out and everything like that. So,
Well, there's so many different sites as well
Yeah.
for people
Yeah.
to list and post, so.
Principal collected by the county
Yeah,
and interest
Sure.
penalties collected by the county. We're at 90%.
are you looking at the year-to-date figures for this year? Yep. So assessments are paid with the first round property taxes. So everything we are going to collect, we have collected, at least through the county. Anybody can come in anytime to City Hall and pay their assessment in full. And we did have some issues with the assessment collected in the previous year. So you are right, we are at 95 and 90% year to date, and these are my estimates for 2027.
It's awfully low.
Well, it goes down.
Yeah.
They're paying off
Yeah.
an
You're
assessment.
looking at 3,000 difference in the beginning of 26.
Yeah, well, and it would be different because we had an issue with the collection as well, so. That'll continue to go down until it's done. Our 501 capital improvement, really the only stuff left that's happening in that fund, Light Up Our Town and the College Vision Fund. And both of those are donation driven, so we collect and then we spend what we collect. So although I have nothing in revenue projected, I also have nothing projected in expenses, and we'll address those as they come up. I do know that Light Up Our Town just received a $5,000 grant. I don't know if they're gonna get that spent this year or next year, but they have a restricted equity account to fund it. So in our budget, we don't have anything until we know. And when something comes up, you can address it with a supplemental appropriation ordinance. We're getting to the good ones, our enterprise funds, to make some money. The 602 water fund. All of our payment options, I have a $500 decrease in the return check late fees. That's a good thing. You don't really want people to be late. We are still collecting the royalties from the Service Line Warranty Association. Our penalties, interest, again, I'm estimating. We do still have our 26th Street Water Distribution Improvement Assessment. This is what we expect to collect in 2027. Right now, anybody, again, could come in this year and pay that off, and that'll change that. The big one are metered and flat rate water. I have estimated at $1,150,000. Our bulk water sales, that's for construction water, not for our water fill station, because we did separate that water fill station amount, and our price did double in 2026, so I increased that. We're getting better. I feel like for the last 4 years, when we've talked about tap fees, I've complained that we have them, we just never get them charged appropriately or at the right time. And so we are getting better at collecting those. I did increase that to 5,000. We do have some good growth coming, hopefully. So hopefully we blow that one out of the water, but that's what I estimated. I did up the reconnect call out to 2,500, and the fire sprinkler system's up a little bit to 1,950. And then we are getting those lease proceeds from Crown Castle. That cell tower lease is good until 2036. So that's pretty solid revenue that comes in every month. And I have $1,265,890 projected for the water fund. Which sounds like a lot till we get to their expenses. The 604 wastewater fund, some small amounts for capital credits, interest earned. And remember, both the water fund and the wastewater fund have those debt service reserve funds, and that's where I'm estimating this interest from. We have a little bit left on the Martin Street assessment. A little bit for our workers' comp payroll audit refund, and then the big ones in this are the sewer charges. I have 925,000 estimated. The sewer user fee, we have 10,000, and I have commercial dumping fees on a question mark because I'm not really sure where we're at with that. We're continuing with that, and we'll continue.
I think we're continuing.
There's been talk about whether we should or not, because, you know, at first it was all this extra water is going to be better for the plant. You know, then it was, well, this is mostly grit and not water, so it's getting worse.
So I have it in there.
Well, based
We're still
on,
collecting that.
based on the input we got from the septic haulers, if we don't take it, we're gonna run them out of business. And that they were gonna work very closely with Jason to not give us grit and boulders and crap that tore up our plant. they need us and they work with us so that we could take their proper fluids.
That's why I did feel comfortable leaving it in there. But I didn't know. So it's in there. It's at 10,000. We're a little over 6 year to date. We could maybe bump that up a little bit, but I don't know that we need to. Tap fees, the service line warranty, royalties, we split between water and wastewater. We do get a little bit, it's donation only from our RV dump station. I have $945,180 estimated as revenue for our sewer fund.
What is the charge you have at this dump station here?
$0, it's donation only.
Do we get anything ever?
I think $68 was the last amount they collected out of there.
I've seen people fill up their water tanks.
It does say non-potable water, but you can't stop everybody. But if you see
Well, I
it,
know.
call the police, because
Well,
they're not supposed to be doing that.
there is a sign there that has codified and hasn't been replaced yet, so. Would it be worth
Well, somebody would have to monitor it, still be donation only, because nobody's gonna stand there and make sure that they pay it.
I don't think it's
expensive.
a dump, but maybe
Yeah.
to get water, but.
But we didn't really want them using the water for any kind of drinking. It's just for flushing out
I'm
the.
talking about dumping.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way to meter that. It's definitely something we could look into, would there be an expense to that? What are we paying for when we get to the water one, we're
We
getting
know the
meters.
wastewater meters that wastewater actually flows through are very expensive, so. what
And
we
then the
could
system
charge,
to collect the money.
And if we have something sitting there, you know, they break into the water fill station, just get quarters, so that'd be wide open, well, that'd be free money
Out
for
of parks
something.
and stuff, it's free too. Out at Angostura, their dump stations are free.
How much it costs to get in there? Not a lot, but.
Gonna make a note about that.
Because I do know our places, they have a coin operated, you just stick the coin, a couple of quarters in, and it opens up the slot for you to put your hose in.
I made a note, we can ask. Are we ready to move on? 612 solid waste. Our solid waste contract does expire at the end of this year, so I was just projecting the same as last year. We have no idea what's gonna happen, what kind of responses we'll get on our request for proposals or bids. But typically 100% of the revenue we collect goes to the service provider. So any changes to expense would be offset by revenue. We did, 5 years ago, or 3 years ago, I don't remember, when we negotiated this contract, we tried to get a percentage for the city for all the payment processing. But that increase would just be passed on to our users by the service provider. So if you remember, you were here for those conversations, we opted out of doing that, trying to keep their bills low. So at this time, and I'm not sure about how the next agreement will look, the city just passes all of it on to the service provider. So I have 315,000, just like the 2026 projected amounts in that. Please stop me if you have any questions. Ready to move on to golf course? So our golf course fund is unique because it just has one revenue, well, it has many, but one fund for revenue, and then we split the departments into two separate departments, but they both share in the same revenue. The big ones are obviously green fees, season passes, cart storage, punch cards, and now because we've done a better job of requiring tournaments be charged, we got tournament revenue. And then all the things that we have for resale are other big sources of revenue. And Ariel, I don't think there were any recommended changes to any of these revenues when you sat down with the department heads. I think the year before, they had a few they wanted to see raised, but this year, they were in agreement with all of these projections. You'll see we don't project any revenue for the special order clothing or equipment for resale, because whatever we get is, we charge on the expense side, so hopefully that washes one another out. We had other sources of revenue, the golf simulator, although at the end of that period of time, I think that Jill's idea was that that wasn't working very well, and they didn't think they'd continue it, so I didn't put anything in there. And then at this time, removing those cards, there's no 212 assistance budgeted. So the golf course on their revenue alone, we're projecting $782,000.
Looks like 2025, we had some, must have been a banner year on green fees compared to.
Yeah, 24 and 25, we thought COVID just boosted the golf business fantastically. And, so yeah, you're right. Ready to move on to the plunge? Man, we're gonna be done by 7. All right,
Want to start asking more questions? So it takes longer?
nope.
Okay.
Not as revenue.
No. I did not put the operating transfer in the plunge. I left it highlighted, but I do have their starting deficit at $198,780, but it really doesn't do me any good to put it in until we've gone through the expenses. So before any operating transfers in, and again, I don't think Kari had any problems with any of these, didn't increase any of these projections. You know, it's tough when you raise rates to know if you are going to see an increase in revenue in all of the admissions, or if you're going to see a decrease in participation like we were talking about with fuel, because it got priced out of stuff. So I really hesitate with our recent increases to jump these numbers too far until we have a year of proof of how that works. So there are some small increases in some of them, but pretty much the same as the year before in our projections. And $791,050 is the total projected for revenue for the plunge before any subsidies. Anybody have any specific questions on that one?
They charge for showers.
Yeah, if you don't do anything else other than shower, because there are some people that camp, or maybe live somewhere where they don't have showers.
Yeah, I always have campers asking,
Where
do
they
you
go
provide
shower?
showers? No, but you go.
I think it's $3.50 or something, or $3.
I think it's $3.
It's a really reasonable rate if you just needed to get a shower somewhere, a nice warm
People's
shower.
water freezes in the winter.
Sure, yep.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. So I always forget the 701 fund, but I'm not gonna do it this time. It's our last governmental fund at the end of all the enterprise funds, and that's cemetery perpetual care. So 1/2 of the sale of cemetery lots goes into this fund. And then there's some interest earned because a minimum of $50,000 is required by statute to stay in our perpetual care account, perpetual care fund account.
So what is a plot?
$300. Sorry.
Cheapest real estate you'll ever buy.
No,
No? No, you've sold some cheaper real estate recently?
Hay Springs are $5.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
really?
I do, I've always said that some of the best real estate we have to offer. I
And when-
mean, the views are beautiful.
When you buy a cemetery plot, you do get issued a deed.
Deed, that's right.
I think they're free out to Quinity.
Are they? Do you get a deed?
$4,000 is what I have for cemetery perpetual care revenue, and unless there's any questions or we wanted to dig into that further, that wraps up revenue for us. Somebody will have to tell me to take a break, 'cause if you need one, just holler, because I just keep going through stuff, but I thought in expenditures,
This is gonna be hard to do for
I'm not sure what happened, because it wasn't like that. I have
me. No,
another
I
one
mean,
if you want.
it's stapled in the middle.
I don't know how that
Take your
happened.
glasses off and they'll read a lot better.
No, really, it's just
Here,
stapled.
here's a different one, it's not stapled if you want an original, or if you.
I can do it until we get to here, and then I won't be able to see it. Huh? I didn't staple it together.
The computer staples, or the multi-purpose printer,
I didn't do it for a good.
that one
job.
is kind of funny, it looks like it got stuck or something, but let me know when you get to wherever you are. And you can have my computer. So I'm getting out of revenue because we didn't have any big changes, and I'm gonna move then to expenses. And I think we'll start in the 101 fund, why not? Get the ones that I consider easy, please tell me. If you don't and you wanna skip it till tomorrow night, but maybe all the way to the right, mayor and council. It's the beginning of your Banyan worksheet, so I feel like that's a good place to start. The only things we have highlighted on there, because we hadn't heard any requests to increase salaries and wages this year, and if you remember, it has to be the following council that benefits from it if you do it. So since I didn't hear any, we left all that the same.
How long has it been since there's been a raise?
It's longer than I've been here, so I had looked back and done some stuff with Mayor, and I probably still have it saved.
I do have to say that it has been brought up when I ask people, that are interested in the city's government, why don't you run? And we all say the same thing. Can't afford to take that much time off of what you guys do.
So it was effective '03 and '04. the changes. The other thing I've heard, and I think the school just talked about it, is what if we just waived all our fees? So I think you hear it both ways. It's definitely not something you're doing for the money you get for it, right?
We're not.
Yeah.
I'm not. Oh, yeah.
$200 a month.
Wow. You get that much?
300 minus taxes.
Yeah.
I was told the county gets 11,000 a
Yeah,
year.
they just gave themselves a raise, the county did.
That's health insurance.
That's how.
Only half. You only get half. No, you have to pay half, they
So
pay
if we
half.
wanted to increase this.
Something we could talk about if you ever wanted to, but I'm budgeting for the same amount as last year.
Custer, their mayor gets $1,800 a month, and councilman will get $800 a month.
Where?
Custer.
Are you kidding?
Nope. My wife called up just to ask.
While we're talking about mayor and council, we have to look at costs. Blackhills Technology is recommending new laptops for them. So, if folks are going to approve new laptops, make sure you're using them.
Use mine.
And I think that the 4 that we would replace would be those that use yours the most frequently.
Definitely, because mine doesn't get as much use as mine.
They're just getting outdated, so they're still running the right programs, but updates and security patches on older laptops aren't up to snuff. So I think you got these in 2020, they're 6 years old now. Earlier in our budgeting process, we had budgeted for new laptops for wastewater because they're so hard on theirs, but then we started talking about these council laptops, and so when we do replace working laptops, we're gonna save those to reuse in places where maybe a newer system isn't necessary, or we know it's gonna get destroyed in 6 months, because that's about the useful life of the laptop at the wastewater treatment plant. So we're gonna recycle those to get destroyed there, and then plan to replace the other 4 in the following year. believe the way the ordinance reads, because it would be an ordinance change, is that it's the following council that benefits from the increase, so not 2 years, it'd be the next year.
27.
So it'd be staggered, if that be the case, because some of us are still in as others are going up for reelection or election. Simpler just to leave it.
The other one that we have highlighted in mayor and council is the travel and conference of 1,000. Often when you guys attend a training, you reimburse the city for the cost. We did have 1,055, 36 in 2025. I believe, I'm not speaking for all of us, but administration, we're happy to pay for travel and conference. It only benefits the city when we get the opportunity to talk with our peers and learn about new legislation and all those things that we do. We do keep our travel and conference in the state, so it's specific to South Dakota. And we're not highlighting it because we think it should be reduced. Just want to make sure that it's getting used if we have it there. So if there's no changes to this budget, because it's a pretty light one, we have 52,825 budgeted, and that does include 4 new laptops in 2027. The pricing are estimates, obviously, because something with the components in a lot of the electronics is going crazy right now, and there's a supply and demand issue, so these estimates may or may not be appropriate in 2027, depending on tariffs and the availability of the stuff they need to make the things that go in the computers.
So workers' compensation, insurance and everything for mayor and council, what does that?
So last year in 2026, I changed the way we estimate that bill. And instead of using a percentage of salaries and wages as the way we break it down, because they just bill us a total amount, and we have to work to break it down between our different functions and funds. And we used to use a percentage of salaries and wages, but now I'm using an estimate closer to the workers' comp rate that's charged for each person that's being covered. So obviously the work you do has a very, very low percentage for per $100 of bill or salaries and wages that is billed for workers' comp, so that's why you see a decrease. And every one we get to, you're probably going to see a slight variation because of that change in calculation.
So we have workers' compensation on the council members,
It's required.
and we're getting $300 a month, which is less than the,
And your rate, like I can pull up my
which is less than the
estimate.
temporary and total disability, and temporary partial. So if we fell broken a leg, we'd actually give ourselves a raise, is that correct?
So your
Don't go falling out.
your workers' compensation rate is, besides the admins, it's the lowest, it's 0.16. So it doesn't, or 0.0039, it's 0.16 of the total, but per $100, it's 0.39%. It's very, very low.
What's the insurance, professional liability, or what?
It's workers' comp. If you get hurt walking up the stairs to get on the stage and twist your ankle or fall off, that would potentially be a workers' comp.
So actually, this is a significant benefit then.
You haven't
Are you gonna
seen
fall?
like this.
If you fall after this.
You haven't seen
Fall on the way
what
to brownies?
the city's insurance never pays nothing. Well, everybody that's filed against
That's
it,
not
they
true.
refuse
We pay all
it.
the time. That's not true.
Okay.
That's not a true statement. I mean, you might have heard from a few people who got theirs declined, but we file a number of claims every year, and they don't all get declined.
Next.
Yeah, contingency is an easy one, so we can talk about that one. We have 100,000, we have a deficit in the general fund. We've been doing a much better job. I, in blue, highlight what we have used, because if you remember the statute that allows us to have contingency does not allow us to spend directly out of it, so we have to transfer it to the whatever fund you assign, or whatever department within the general fund you assign it to. So last year, or 2025, we used 16.8, and I think you've approved one potential contingency transfer, which I don't think got used for the building code inspector travel training this year so far. So Ariel and I were gonna cut the 100,000, but we thought we'd leave that for you guys because it'd be an easy cut.
Well, my note was to cut 25, what was your note?
Cut it down to 25 or
No,
cut?
cut 25 from it.
Yeah, I think we projected 65 this year, so 25 or 35 would be fine with me.
I'd say at least down to 75.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at us cutting 25,000 just like that. We may have to come back to that one, but we have gotten a lot better. You know, truly, if it's an emergency, which when we get to some of these other departments, you know, we have some concerns about pipes and HVACs, and so, yeah, I wouldn't want to cut it all the way down, but I would say that we're getting much better, saving it for true emergencies and not utilizing the full amount per year.
About 75.
Yeah, so I changed that one to 75. Legal is a pretty easy one, I think, to go through. We have talked about, and you've heard the admin finance recommendation to accept a new contract beginning 2027 with our legal services team at $6,500 a month with no limit to the number of hours. That's a pretty big increase from the 5,000 we've had for the last few years, but they have been limiting our hours to 20 per month, and it has affected their ability to respond to things. We've had stuff literally waiting 6 months to get a response on. So although it's a little bit more, we are in support of it with no limit on the number of hours. We did ask for a 5-year agreement on that price since it was such a big increase. They came back with an offer of 3 years. So between now and the end of this year, probably closer to the end of the year, we'll be presenting you with a new contract for legal services. And in our budget for 2027, we're projecting $6,500 a month.
Can I ask a question? Has that interrupted or cost us any money, like, up to this point?
I think so.
Slow things down.
Yeah, it does slow things down. It'd be a stretch to try to tie it to any dollar amount.
But I mean,
It adds
shooting from the hip, you're not
frustration.
saying where it has cost us any.
We haven't made any huge mistakes that cost money because we didn't have an answer from.
I would say it's probably slowed down my ability to collect the bid remittance, but hopefully we still get everything we're supposed to have, so. Then we did cut the supplies and materials to $250. We asked them, you know, for copies or postage or filing fees to just have the register of deeds bill us or bring what needs to be mailed, especially if it needs to be mailed out with some kind of return receipt. Just bring it to City Hall and let us do it as opposed to billing us their rates, because that's just a lot of roundabout that we don't need. So we did lower that because that's been working pretty good.
Well, yeah, you're cutting out their hourly wages and.
Well, and them paying to bill us, for us to pay them instead of paying the person that originally got paid is just inefficient, so. Honestly, I don't think we spent anything year to date on that, so. We could probably cut that down to 100 if you wanted.
About 150.
Bill says no, Dave says 150, I'm fine either way. Going less. Leave it or cut
It's
it?
small enough.
Every dollar counts though.
Yep, when we get down to people asking for $500, $600, $1,000, $100.
150?
Good for that.
Okay.
Help with that. 150.
I'm changing the supplies and materials to 150. So 78, 150 then is our legal total now.
78,100.
170, 150.
Yep. I'm gonna skip over finance, general government buildings, but engineer, unless unless you want to hit those. I mean, we're doing great on time. Should we just go in order? Anybody object to that? If we get to something we're kind of stuck on, we can just skip past it, but I don't have it on my list, but we're doing great with time, so let's just go in order then. Finance is the next tab, 41420. The mayor asked last year, and I kept doing it this year because I thought it was helpful. With everyone that has a salaries and wages, I did a percentage of increase or decrease in the notes. And you'll see a big decrease, well, 10.24% from salaries and wages, but that is because we are recommending in 2027 that the new admin assistant be paid completely out of the building/code enforcement department because she is working 100% in that office. So it's still general fund. It's not gonna, you're gonna see a decrease in this one, but an increase in that one, but it more accurately reflects where she's doing most of her work. Yeah, so, you know, I won't read through all of these or tell you what each of them is for unless there's something special or different. And if you have any specific questions about any of the changes, please just speak up and let me know. Workers' comp, we saw a small decrease in this one as well for that same reason. I did estimate a 10% increase on South Dakota Public Assurance throughout. Election and the off years, we only estimate about 1,000 because we run a pretty tight ship. American Legal Supplements, I'm estimating 5,000, depends on how many ordinances we change. We did increase the travel and conference by 500 because we did have to supplement it in 2025. We have a new city administrator, a new AFO. And we also pay our South Dakota Municipal League membership dues for city administrator, HR, and FO out of this budget as well. The cell phone is the reimbursement for the city administrator cell phone in 2 years. That should go down a little bit unless you break your phone, need a new one, and it stays up.
I'm good with my phones.
All right. And
Why is machinery and equipment? There's no.
yeah, because they're not recommending any new equipment. The only stuff, in general government building, you'll see server upgrades. So there is some in the next one over, but in finance, they're not recommending anything.
So you're not looking at like new computers for your.
I just got this new one and my old one is still working, but like yours, it's old, so.
Mine's acting up, but they think they can fix it or at least recycle me an older one, so.
I just thought,
And it would probably be a this year contingency if it doesn't work,
I
so.
thought of all places you guys would be going through the computers.
We'll wait till you get to general government buildings.
Okay.
General government / buildings. In finance then, and if we don't have any changes, we have $356,590.
Group insurance dropped by, well,
Yeah,
insurance companies
no,
want to charge less.
we dropped the admin. You'll pick that up in the other
Okay.
department, yeah. They did it, we did have a decrease, was it 0.71% or something?
Yeah, not even
Like,
a whole percentage point.
yeah, so at least it's not increasing by 26%, but the decrease was not huge.
Because we had the 1 year when it was 14%.
Yeah, there was a 20-something% year thing since I've been here before you got here. It was a pretty hard pill to
That's just a
swallow.
couple years ago.
Misty, I'd like to advocate for a raise for me, but for the front office girls. I think they do enough, more than enough, to keep us on how we handle things before it gets to the departments. I'd like to advocate for those two gals.
You know that all city employees get raises on a consistent schedule, so it's fair and consistent because we all do our job well. We do get 2 raises a year. We get the COLA adjustment that you give us and our stepper longevity increase. So every single city employee is getting 2. I'm not telling you you can't do that because obviously you can do whatever you want, but I am telling you if you start picking and choosing who gets raises, in that kind of way because they do a good job or because they're helpful, and then you're not giving it to somebody else who maybe you don't get to work with as often, but is doing a good job and is awfully helpful, creates a lot of animosity, and has there's a reverse effect on the rest of the employees. So I'm sure they would appreciate you saying that. I get hounded every time at least one of them gets mad at us about needing more money, but we are, those positions also have an ability to step up when there's openings and earn more.
Okay.
But I will entertain that conversation unless everybody agrees with that.
I agree with you.
It has created animosity in the past when we've
Yeah.
done stuff like
I don't doubt that, you know, I mean, we've seen it,
that. I agree with what you're saying,
you know,
but just that step always seems to create a backlash.
and we've seen that, we know what
Mhm.
that does. But I'll still advocate for it.
So 356,590 for finance, moving on.
Okay.
So general government / buildings, we do still have all those beginning ones in there because they were used in the past, but we replaced our city hall cleaner with a contracted cleaner, so those expenses moved to services and fees. And again, you know, nothing big has changed. We can talk a little bit about the building repairs and maintenance at 30,000. We are looking to complete phase 2 of the retaining wall at the rear of the building and steps to the new platform behind the building. This year, we'll look to get the Deadwood Fund matching grant that we got for phase 1. I think we have a pretty good chance. We talked to them about having to phase the project. They were in support of the project. They liked the work that was done so far. And then we would also be looking for the outside of Deadwood Fund to potentially do the other part of the match, hoping to get at least one of the two, but budget, because both grant applications require you to submit the budget for the matching part along with your application. So that's what we're looking is the 25,000 with an equal match expected from one of those two. And then other building repairs at 5,000. Of course, we're talking about budget and we have problems with our sewer today. So hopefully 5,000 would cover any problems that we have to
That
it.
sewer since I can remember.
Yeah, it comes and goes. I think it's been a good 3 years since we've had a problem before, but I'm not sure where they ended the day today, but they were a little frustrated.
jetting you today? Rapid or something back in the morning?
Because they need a small camera and their camera's not big enough to see what's causing the trouble, so.
Where's the building traveling
I'm sorry?
to? 5,500 for traveling conference. I was wondering where the building was going to.
Oh, so that's our SDML annual membership and our Black Hills Council local government membership
Okay.
fees. Yeah, it's not any travel for the building. It's just where we pay those annual membership fees. And it's DLA that prescribes these codes for us, and they do put memberships in that category, so that's where we pay it from.
Just one comment.
Yeah,
As we looked at our deficit, I guess I looked at a lot of these, and I guess I consider that 30,000 a necessary but non-reoccurring expense. So I know it may feed into a potential deficit, but it doesn't scare me as bad as if it happened every year.
okay,
I'll just throw that out there.
yeah. I would agree with at least 25 of it. I mean, I think you need some kind of building repair and maintenance every year. That's kind of what we're throwing that 5 in there for, but I would agree.
Looking forward, we need to look at improving the upstairs.
I know, that's my next goal. So I have in my 2028 budget notes to maybe pay for a plan and try to get the grants to help cover it. But have somebody come in that can help us draft a plan so that we can maybe try to find some bigger grants or start at least a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, you know, doing that same thing.
There used to be a chairlift to take you upstairs.
Yeah.
On whatever
But
happened
typically,
to
you
it.
usually need some engineered design plans to
Right,
do
of
something
course.
that big. So I do have that in my 2028 notes. Windows too are another
Yeah.
thing that,
I mean, it's, in my mind, it's a recurring expense that
Yeah.
we need to keep working on.
I was gonna say that, but I didn't wanna scare away
The idea that it doesn't scare you, yeah.
If you
But
guys
the
would put
requirement
30,000
still is
in here.
a elevator for a second floor.
I've never seen plans to develop the second floor, and I would think if we got some engineered design plans, we could find out if it has to be an elevator, if it could be a stair lift, what our options would be.
Because I remember, what, 15, 16
Yeah, I'm
years
sure
ago,
the American with Disabilities Act has some kind of
they
access
required-
issues with
yeah,
those
They
stairs.
required us to have, if we did spend money, that we would have to put it in the
Thank you for saying that, though, because that has been on my list for quite a while.
Good to hear
I
that.
think if we do the most important stuff, then that should be the next goal. Because we may be able to rent some space out up there and generate some revenue, so.
But it's nice and cool upstairs.
Yeah, that would have to be in the plans
All
too,
you need is a
because,
fan or two,
Yeah.
so open the windows, let the pigeons in.
There you go.
I changed my mind about wanting my office up there, that's what we're gonna do. Equipment repairs and maintenance, that's mostly our copier maintenance contract. With a little bit extra in case or something else. Where are we at year to date on that one? Yeah, that's not right. I have to look at that, because you definitely have been paying copier maintenance expenses, and I wonder if she's not putting
I
that
would bet it's
It's
being
in
put into
finance.
services and fees.
or in finance or something, I'll check that, but that's definitely where it's supposed to be coming out of, and we have been paying the bill, so I'll check that. Supplies, the majority of our supplies are paid out of this budget because we share them throughout departments. So postage, rate increases, paper envelopes, office supplies, our stamps.com membership or monthly fees, and then $500 for fire supplies, all total up to the $8,000 we have in supplies. The janitorial supplies for cleanings are also paid out of this budget. We did start, I think we talked about this a little bit last year, but we started using a state awarded contract with Staples and Innovative Office Solutions for office supplies. We do support shopping locally, but specifically for our office, to have someone go out, get the supplies needed from the 2 or 3 different places they have to go to get them, and then bring them back. Staples has no minimum order charge for getting the state procured rate, which is lower, and delivery is free, and it comes the next day. We started doing that, and it saved us, so if we're looking to shave $500 off of this janitorial supply budget, I think we could do that.
This is just for the supplies, that's not for the person cleaning.
Janitorial supplies is just for the cleaning supplies, yeah.
I'll agree with taking off 500.
Yeah.
Anybody
would
object
too.
to that? Drop that one down to 1,500. Is this a good time to take a break, since Ariel took a break and we want her to stay with us on here and get hers updated too? Is everybody okay with taking a little break real quick?
Oh, that's janitorial supplies?
Yeah,
down to
down to
1,500.
Excuse me.
I have no problem with it, if anybody else.
I was looking at 6:30, but to your point, folks may be ready to go now. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take a break. Carl?
All right, so we stopped off at janitorial supplies. We lowered that to 1,500. Travel and conference, we talked a little bit about that at the beginning. Those just pay memberships, and those aren't going down. Telephone is highlighted just because I'm not sure how we'll break up the new hosted phone bill. But you can see this year we budgeted $3,850. I dropped it down to $3,000. We are anticipating savings. I hope I'm close. We'll talk more about it in 2027. Electricity, I have estimated at $5,000. Difficult, like propane, to estimate because it depends on price and temperature, and we don't control either one of those. So propane, I have $4,000. We don't budget at this time for sewer and water. Other current expense, we just have that highlighted because it's always on the chopping block when we talk about needs and wants. We have 5,000 for 4th of July fireworks. That is supplemented by the bid board, who votes each year to contribute. It was 5, and for the last couple years, it's been 10,000 to our fireworks display. That is in the budget for 2027 for bid, but if they were at other current expense in general government.
That's fireworks?
I'm here.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're ahead. I'm not sure what there is.
Thank you, sorry.
So we have 5,000 in there for 2027 fireworks. The machinery and equipment budget, you thought, who was it, thought that was light in finance? Well,
Here you go.
here you go. We have $8,350 budgeted. That's for the new Vigilant security system at $750. 2 new cameras at $350. We have server upgrades in red, and that's $7,250. Now, these are all recommended by Black Hills Technology, but the reason we have the server upgrades in red, I wish we would have heard back by now, but we haven't. If we get the SD Secure grant money we applied for cybersecurity initiatives, then the server upgrade should be covered by that grant. But we're still waiting to hear, and we need to upgrade the server whether or not we get it. So if we hear before Thursday, this could save us $7,250, but we haven't heard yet, and we know we need it, so we have it in here.
So that,
8350.
yeah, 8350, that's EPMS, right?
No, we're in general government buildings, so this is our server at City Hall.
Oh, okay.
That serves everywhere but the library.
And again, these could be considered one-time expenditures.
Yes. I mean, one time every 5 or 6 years, I think.
Yeah, they're not recurring expense.
Right. Not an ongoing, recurring, increasing, yeah. And then computer software, we have 5,000. That includes our fund accounting, payroll, vault backup, and time card. And then Black Hills Sentinel One. I'm not sure, those amounts don't total 5,000. Do you know why we have 5,000 in there? Should we change it to 3860 or 39? What? Yeah, I'm not sure why it was.
Watch your money, that's 4,000.
Okay, we're gonna change that one from 5 to 4. We're still in general government buildings, and this is computer software.
5 to 4?
Yeah. So our new total at the bottom of this one with our 2 changes is 152,410.
152,410.
152,410, yep. And we're just gonna keep moving to the right. And our next department is engineer. Only 20% of our public works director budget or salaries and wages is paid from this general fund budget. The other 80% is split between water and wastewater. 100% of his work comp is paid for out of this budget. Really small, light budget. Telephone is highlighted again because I'm not sure. And then his AutoCAD computer software, that was new in 2025. Not sure, travel and conference is not something that's typically used, but we budget for it every year. If you wanted to cut some money out of there, you probably could. He doesn't attend any of the South Dakota Rural Water or American Water Association trainings. He does some routine continuing ed stuff that's all online. So it wouldn't save you much, but you could probably lower that a couple hundred, 300, so drop it in half. I'm comfortable with that? Everybody else is?
Maybe go 200. Most of Chuck,
200?
was 198, 15, or 25.
If there's something special that comes up that he wants to go up to, we could talk about it, so 200, okay? Still at 3, Larry?
Larry, you want 3?
Okay. Anybody else have an input, 2 or 3?
2.
3.
3.
I don't care.
It's up to you, it's up to you, Bill.
Dave?
Well, 300, like you said, is if something comes up, he's gonna have to have some cushion.
3 is reasonable because you're cutting it in half, and if something comes up, you're not have to
Add.
compensate too much.
I'm good with 3.
Okay,
That's fine.
all right. I'm gonna change travel and conference in the engineer to 300, and I know we changed this title, but I can't change this code 41960 is prescribed by DOE for engineers, and he is an engineer, so I'm still calling it engineer even though we changed his title. Decreasing the travel and conference to 300 brings our total for this budget to 32,265.
Correct.
And if there's no other changes, we'll move over one to the right, which is our police department.
Hang on.
No big increases for,
There, the chief sent out an email, I think right before the meeting on some additional information on the taser, body cam, dash cam packages, and I don't think any of us had a chance to look at it, so I would propose we skip.
do you want to just look at what's in here and then come back to it?
That would be fine.
Okay. Just in case there's anything else that somebody might want to think a little bit more on too, and then more on that.
Moron.
No, it didn't sound like it.
She's calling us
A little, yeah, whatever.
Said
So-
moron, and I raised my hand. Yes?
No big request for increases in salaries and wages. It's a 2.8% increase, and that's just longevity and step increases in our proposed estimated increases. Let's see what else in there is much higher. Most everything is staying the same. The vehicle repairs and maintenance, when we did meet as a group, the police department shaved quite a few of these numbers from what we had projected originally. This was one of them. But it does need to go up an additional 10,000 if we don't get the new car. So cars in here, 10,000 is the lowered amount that he agreed to, with the idea that they would have one new fully outfitted patrol car. Here's one where I think we might end up using contingency. They have been having furnace issues. AC's fine, but there's a problem with the heat. Of course, there's always a problem with the heat when it's freezing. They've had a couple different vendors come and look at it. One said it needed completely replaced, and another said, no, you just need to replace the circuit board, but it's working fine for right now. So we have 1,750 in building repairs and maintenance. And I hope that gets you through 2027. I hope they're right. Supplies, 10,500. The clothing is another area that he decreased. They've been very lucky and have not seen a lot of turnover in the department. And now that they have their Class A uniforms and everyone's fully outfitted, the chief thought that 5,000 between all full-time employees, but wanted to remind you that that also includes duty gear, holsters, and other items, and then 1,000 across 5 reserves, so we have 6,000 there. And again, the chief was fine with that decrease. He agreed to the decrease when we were trying to cut the budget. They also have a contracted cleaner, so they have janitorial supplies. Gas, oil, and diesel is just a really hard one to estimate, so we were leaving that at 20. Telephone, I'm hoping I get close. Electricity, I did ask this year with the cell phone charges now being much higher than it had been in the past because the in-car computers, I asked if we could combine somehow the service for those in-car computers with their cell phones, but traffic issues and like, is traffic the right word to use? If there's a lot of calls or whatever, it could slow down if they're just using the phone. So he did ask about that, and we do need to keep the MiFi for the computers for those kind of traffic slows down, and then when there's not good service on the phone or something. So it is required to keep both of those.
Well, travel and conference, you skip.
Oh, I'm sorry. 8,800. That's the same amount as we had budgeted this
Man,
year.
but the new officer, he's thinking about getting, he's gotta go to school.
He's thinking about getting a new officer?
Replace.
We are hiring one right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
but
so
we don't
that's-
know if that person's gonna be certified or not. And then when we certify them through the state, the expenses are very minimal because we don't pay for the training or their stay
I know.
or their food. So it's
Just
just
the
the
gas.
mileage back and forth. So that would come out of their gas, oil, and diesel. And then their salaries and wages is the other big expense while they're there. But luckily, our partnership with the state, they don't charge for that 12-week program. 12 or 16.
Well, it might be a stupid question, but, okay, for the engineer, we got for cell phone $65.
Yeah, his is split. So his is split 80% from 40/40 water, wastewater, 20 from general fund.
Okay. And then you're talking about cell phone for the police department, I don't know why there's such a difference.
Well, and the other thing is when we upgraded all the phones, the monthly fee is more, like 35 compared to 15. After you've had it for 2 years, it's essentially kind of paid off. So your monthly charge drops down to $15 till you upgrade for a new phone again. And so,
That's quite
Which
a jump.
usually is what, about 3 months after you pay it off?
I mean, some people will keep them for quite a bit longer, but some people are hard on them and need new phones replaced. We do buddy upgrades where we use somebody else's often just to get people new phones without having to pay for them. The DARE program, we talked about that in revenue. The equity balance is about 2,800 currently. So if any expenses do come up, they have that much in restricted equity to spend. The machinery and equipment is where you'll see
New cover.
a new security system, upgrading to the Vigilant security system, 6 new workstations, QNAP data storage device, and the 2026 Ford truck fully upfitted at $75,000. The vehicle estimate is $67,000. The graphics, the radio, the radar, the camera, and other upfitting is estimated at $8,000 for a total of $75,000. We can hash that out now, but since we have some other stuff to look at, we can also come back to this and just keep going. Computer software, that's the Central Square or the Zerker, plus the software required for the in-car computers. They also use a when-to-work scheduling software, and then their share of the cost for Black Hills Tech Sentinel One and the Sonic Wall subscription make up that total. And then it is the last year of the payments for our leased tasers and body cameras. Your memo from the chief for the information in the email does talk about these, so we won't get into it too much, but the other thing that is added in there for the 33,515 is car cameras, and that annual cost is one of 10 years. And we might have a little bit of a decrease in that for 2027, depending on which route we go after you read through all the stuff. So $1,128,117 with no changes, but we can come back to this one beginning of the next night to talk about the other
Well,
stuff.
I surely hope we do that.
Well, I guess I'll wait and bring up what I want to, the cameras.
After everybody's read them? Okay, that sounds good. So we're gonna move on, one more to the right, support services, that's our dispatch. We're at 102.5, we talked about that and determined that already, so,
So how's the county feeling
well, I didn't ask.
that? Adequate.
Fire, oh, did you have something you wanted to add?
After it was discussed in Airman Finance, what they want to recommend, I anticipate the commissioners were going to ask us, invite us to address them, say why we need to save a rent. After Airman Finance recommended 125, I personally talked to the sheriff, let him know before the council meeting, that's where council ended. And he didn't push back. I don't know if it's a matter of him pushing the commissioners to ask, if he's having a conversation with the commissioners, but until we're asked or not asked,
Yeah.
He very comfortably gave himself a raise, so.
Well-
we'll follow the commissioner's lead.
They did reduce our library allotment by 20,000, so it may be a tit for tat.
Why they did it?
So,
They were asked that question by the librarian and they wouldn't give her an answer. I'm not saying they wouldn't give her, they didn't have an answer.
yeah. Next one is fire, 102.5.
We know they're not happy with that either.
Oh, they're not happy because we don't give them the building, is my understanding, but that was the requested increase that we had proposed in the contract that we're still working on, so.
And we haven't heard nothing further from them.
We haven't what?
Heard anything further at this time?
Oh, okay. I missed the at this time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I might have added
I
that.
was still kind of chewing.
The next one then is the building/code department. So this one, with those percentages, that's where you see a big increase, but that's due to the added employee. But I would again point out that that's all a general fund expense. That's just where her time has been best utilized and makes the most sense. Other than that, there really isn't. I don't know if this much supplies is necessary since most supplies are purchased from general government, but in 2025, we did spend a lot in supplies from this department. But previous to that, there usually is not a big supplies expense. Ariel, you and I talked about that a little bit, but we decided to leave it, right?
I don't think either of us could get into fund accounting to look at, but I'm just trying to look at it now. Not responding.
Let me see if I can.
So you're showing 229.65 at 45%, 45.9.
Which is about halfway. So, did you want to look at that, or do you want to leave it at 500?
I'll let somebody else that has better numbers.
You just made a good point that we're at 50%. I think we should just leave it.
You're getting awful close.
Travel and conference, we have at 1,500. Telephone, just guessing. Building official does have a city cell phone. And then Black Hills Tech is recommending a new workstation.
How come his cell phone is higher than everybody else's? Is that with the new phone or just what it costs?
That's just not.
I think, so everybody pays a percentage of the actual plan cost, depending on how many phones they have, and then they pay their rate, and he is paying a higher rate for a new smartphone.
We had to get that phone when we started because Scott did a cell phone reimbursement.
So for 2 years, it should be a little higher until the phone's paid off. So 142,520 for the building/code department.
Machinery and equipment, what machine, is that including, excuse me, is that including like that dumpster and stuff like that that we're working towards?
Nope, that's just a new workstation. So a new laptop or desktop computer is all that is. We have the code, and what is it called? Nuisance and complaint budget that we'll talk about.
That's, yeah. And then with the hire into his department, do we have to buy room, or is that something we have?
So we have one. If you remember, the city administrator had an admin.
Right.
New city administrator doesn't need an admin. So she took the desk, the computer, the phone, all that stuff.
So those recycles.
Oh, yeah, we do whenever we can encourage all employees for any, everyday items that we might have excess of. We'll try to use what we have before we buy new. All right, so next one's a big one for the city. That's our highways, streets, and roadways. There's a 4% increase, but many of the same employees are split between departments. So as we get to looking at those that are split, it includes this one, highway, streets, and roadways, snow removal, street lighting, street cleaning, cemetery, and parks. I think you know what all of those are. I thought 6,000 was a little low for services and fees, but what, is that why we have it unhighlighted and we just didn't unhighlight
We
it?
changed it from the 78 or whatever when we had the concrete crushing in there.
Oh, okay. So that,
Crushing concrete?
yeah, we are,
No,
we're just
I
trying
thought
to
I
pay for
read
it somewhere
someplace
else.
we was.
Yeah, it was 73,000. We're just,
Where are we at?
we're in highway, streets, and roadways, we're at
Yeah.
services and fees, and the amount is
Okay.
6,000. On your fund accounting expenditure worksheets, we had 73,000 in there. We moved the estimated cost to crush all the concrete to the 212 fund. We have some discussion about that when we get there, but, so we didn't eliminate it, we just moved where we think we should pay it from, and then we have some ideas about it when we get there.
What's the new amount? for
6,000.
6,000?
Yeah.
Services and fees?
Yeah,
Down from 73,000?
yep, because we moved the concrete crushing estimated expense.
It'll be someplace else.
It'll be someplace else, yeah. And we're really working to try to find any other places that legally, according to our ordinances or statute, we can pay some of these expenses out of to lessen the burden of the deficit in the general fund.
Say that number again?
6,000.
6,000, thanks.
Does anybody else got any garbage that needs to go? Third?
From 73,000, 6,000.
Vehicle repairs, we left the same, all these others, equipment repairs, building repairs, we left the same. The street walk repairs, we have at 150,000. We have, I know at least one council member says we can't spend enough money on road repairs, but this is an awful lot for this general fund department because historically, major projects are funded by 212, and we do have a good amount in there as well. I think, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but, try not to use names, but between that 150 and the 200,000 we have in the 212 fund, that might be an area, as we're working to eliminate a deficit, you may consider lowering the amount.
So what are the line items in there? In that 150, what do they have in mind for it?
You're only one.
I'm only one.
We
It
don't-
takes 5.
We don't have a list of streets yet. That's something we're working on. I've been developing a spreadsheet that has every road block by block, so we can document the condition it's in, when it was last, maintenance, and then some kind of scoring matrix where we know that maybe cracks are worth 5 points and spalling is 10 or whatever, so that we can determine, we have this much money, we're gonna get the most value out of crack sealing these because they're still in good-ish condition. And, these are the ones that are gonna need a full replacement. also considering like these have 50-year-old mains under them, so don't tear them up till you're ready to redo the mains.
Right.
So we're working on some kind of solid plan for that.
When she says she means her, this is something that Ariel has put together that we have needed for years, because we often budget big amounts for road repairs, then we kind of just pick, and then a lot of people don't know why we picked where we did, and so a scoring system and a list of every road with identified issues with the roads is gonna come in very helpful.
And alleys.
And that's primarily their repairs in the street, walk repairs in the highway, streets and roadways, has generally paid for patchwork, including repairs to alleys.
So Errol, when you're saying walk repair, this doesn't include the sidewalks on the Freedom Trail?
Well, so
Budget for that first.
this, yeah, that is part of the parks street walk repairs budget. Street walk repairs is again that name prescribed by the DLA.
Thank you.
So what we're looking for in the highway, streets and roadways is gonna be more streets, alleys, streets. But again, we can come back to this, but you're still looking at a deficit, and this is an area where at least I would identify, if you look historically, we've never put this much in there or been able to get this much done.
Well, that was gonna be my question. Does Billy have, with all his routine work, does Billy have the time to do $150,000 worth of repairs?
See, he wouldn't do it. Somebody,
We want to start much sooner. Like this year, we got to it a little bit late. We're just now getting ready to put it out to bid, but we want to be having, quotes for, this many dollars per square foot of crack sealing and chip sealing and so on in like April.
If we discussed that today, Public Works, we could be looking at 3/4 of this sum right here is going towards a good swath of taking care of some of the roads and gutters, approaches, stuff like that, that need to be repaired extremely bad.
Does that include the 200,000 that we have budgeted in 212? Because for this year, we have a projected 212 expense of 200,000 for road repairs, so this would be a total of 350,000 in
we're
repairs.
spending this year, aren't
Hopefully,
Yeah.
we?
yeah,
Yeah, so this is for next year.
yeah.
Yeah,
that's for
that's what I'm saying is what we had, this is what our extreme list is. And you're looking at probably 2 more lists just like coming up.
You seen in Public Works how much 200 and some thousand do?
Right.
So this 150 ain't gonna do near that.
No, I don't disagree with doing the work. I guess I'm looking at kind of what Misty brought up is, given the deficit we have in the general fund, should we take 100,000 of this and say we're gonna spend the same amount of money, but we'll spend 100,000 more out of the 212 for roads, sidewalks, still spend the money,
Right.
but just reduce the deficit in the 101.
And that is, I'm open to that. I'm just letting you know that what we're talking about getting done this year
Yeah,
is really, we're looking at a little better than $110,000. And that should actually be increased a little bit, because you don't know what you're gonna hit when
Right.
you start doing the repair.
And I
So
think
there'll
it-
be some overage, but what I'm saying is, keep in mind, what our extreme list is pretty high, but we have others that are coming up right behind it. And depending on oil prices and the way they are fluctuating, that 110%, what we're looking at spending now, could be 140 in
Yeah.
a year's time.
and I'm not arguing with any of the work. I look at this line item as,
Is fine.
there's a piece of broken curb up at, is it Washington and 19th? Somewhere up in there. That's what this kind of money fixes.
Right.
It's the one-off little piece of work that it just, I mean, it's all
More in-house in-house type
Yeah,
little
it's
stuff.
in-house.
Like the handicap approaches
The,
we've
yeah,
been
the
talking about.
handicap approaches that we've been chasing for a lot of years, so would that be acceptable? Because I know we're gonna, there's a lot of stuff with 2-on-2s, in my opinion, this is $8.50 will get you a latte, is fairly healthy. And
I agree.
I guess I would rather see us move 100,000 of this item, still spend the money, but spend it out of the 2-on-2.
And I'm open to that. I'm just, what I was trying to refer you to is some numbers
Yeah.
of what we have coming this year, and it's gonna hit us again next
Yep,
year.
absolutely.
I think Bob wants
Is that,
Yeah,
are you okay with that?
as long as we're spending at least this much, if not more. I mean, we wouldn't,
So it's gonna be more on a 2-on-2
yeah,
than this amount.
and this one would be 50,000 or less. Yeah.
No, I'm good with that too. I was just doing more for informational, so you understand what's coming.
Should we start with dropping this number 50,000 versus the 100,000?
I think
Come
100
back to
is a
it?
good idea, because you've got a lot to cut, and we can get to the 2-on-2 and talk about that fund when we get there, but I would agree that available balance in that fund, and not just your 8-cent opinion or whatever you called it, but specifically that fund was established by ordinance and dictated to be used for street improvements, street maintenance, building upkeep and repair, and any other expenditures deemed necessary by the council. So I think 100 makes a lot of sense. And it will help you get to the point you're looking to get to your 101 fund and not be too big of an impact on your tuition.
So this is 50,000 then.
The other thing I was wondering as you guys were talking about this, if we do get it all together in the 2-on-2 fund, don't you typically get a better bang for your buck when you have one project that can include more stuff than separate little projects because of mobilization and going out for bids? So it does make more sense to do the bigger projects, not just the one-off in-house repairs to little things all together, which if we had all that
Only
budget.
problem is, a big project, it takes a whole bunch of these $50,000. I mean, we're talking 800,000-900,000 for big projects.
And everybody knows that we're behind on streets because we had such a major project. So everything was put to the wayside. Now we're playing catch up. But we feel that it is possible to get caught up if we approach it right.
Okay, so
Let's
I,
get back in for just a second.
Yep.
If we see something on here that we think is not adequate, and is it all the time to speak up, or we address that later on?
is it in highways, streets, and
No,
roadways?
just general question.
Yeah, if we're in the budget,
Okay,
that's the time to bring it up.
okay.
In that section.
So we're dropping 100 down to
What do you think that section?
And when we get to 2-on-2, don't let me forget, we're adding 100 when we get there. Let's see, supplies was one that they said they thought they could get by with 2,000. There are a lot of supplies on hand there. Often it does seem like they run out and buy stuff before they check if they have it, so I'm hoping they can do that. That was their number, not mine. I had a much bigger number in there. We talked about clothing and PPE and how we were budgeting that. Gas, oil, and diesel is a tough one. Ben hired.
I'm sorry, why is janitorial so high?
1,000?
So that's their toilet paper, paper towels, so, that's also stuff like floor drying, shop rags.
Okay, so you're,
Stuff
okay.
like
They're
that.
at 53% of it year to date at 1,500. I think I had that one higher too, and they dropped it down.
It seems,
They wanna start getting their paper towels and stuff from Staples that we talked about.
I have told them that for years because they pay, we like shopping locally again, but we pay a lot more when we don't buy it at that discounted procured state rate. So that is probably a way that would help with the lower amount. Same with minor tools. I had that higher. They lowered it. Thank you to them for being willing to do that. I hope we can make it through that way. 5,000 for new traffic signs. I think I did ask Ariel about that because I thought that might be a little high and what signs we needed, but you did say there's a lot of signs that.
Yeah, so these are not the wayfinding signs, we'll be able to order will actually be street signs that are faded, unreadable, and getting old.
And we got quite a few of those.
If you identify them in your normal roundabouts or hearing from people, let us know. We'll start this.
Larry would be a good one, fill us
I'll
out.
drive
All
around,
over
give me a
that.
list, I'll tell you
Yeah.
what street.
Start writing them down or taking pictures later. All right, so nothing else changed a whole lot in here. Machinery and equipment, Black Hills Tech is recommending 2 new workstations. One, he considers the full fleet at $850 with the estimate, and another one a little bit smaller at $650. And then they're in year 6 of 6 for the John Deere 624 wheel loader. So this will be the last year that we'll have that $35,400 payment. And now with our decreased amounts in here, our new total for the highway, streets, and roadways fund is $816,713. Estimating snow removal around more than right.
Yeah, last year we didn't.
I know, you just never know. But it's my best guess, so there it is. Everything's pretty much the same as last year with a small increase in the salaries and wages projected.
So where's the 22,000 that they didn't use last year?
Well, it goes back into the general fund on the fund balance, yep. So I don't really see anywhere you can change anything in there. Stop me if you see something. I have $64,415, and I'm probably wrong. So, next one is street lighting. Street lighting, we have some miscellaneous repairs that may not be done in-house. It used to be much higher because we had a contracted out lighting repair maintenance, and we're saving about $9,000 a year not doing that. Often when there is damage or repairs needed, it's the result of some type of accident. And I've been pretty successful this year. I think I've got the algorithm set now where I'm collecting that from, as long as the police are involved and there's an insured driver that did it, we can collect that revenue from the insurance claim that's needed to repair the light.
So the people that change the bolts and stuff on the long truck, we don't.
They
use them no more?
charge us anyway when they have to bring down a truck. It wasn't covered in the maintenance agreement. So that's what this 5,000 is for, is when those things come up and we do have to pay them to come down, we just do.
What's the 70,000 utilities?
That's for electricity,
Oh,
the big part of that. So 78,000, with 70,000 of that being electricity is what we have budgeted in street lighting. Any changes?
No.
Alright. So the next one over is street cleaning. This one also varies because it's shared employees and time often is the issue. If there's somebody available to do it, how much is needed. So best guess estimate there without any big changes from previous years, $21,365. You ready to move on from that one? I am. Here's the nuisance and complaint budget. We tie this to the building/code department. We canceled the contracted service. We're doing that in-house now. We have $5,000 to address localized cleanups with collaboration of property owners and $250 for supplies and materials, which would be suits, respirators, rubber gloves, masks, if he has to go into a
Basically,
really gross place, that you don't reuse most of that stuff. There's a lot of ideas about what we'll use this money for, but often we budget for it and don't need to use it. You could probably take a couple thousand off here, but 5,000 also doesn't get you very far. If you have a big property cleanup, so you let me know if you see any changes needed here. We have $5,250 budgeted.
for
We
what
have
we,
some really big cleanups in the future.
what we have coming up, I think we should leave this alone because everything would hit at once, we probably have to pass.
So tell me why in 2025 we had 10,000.
I can tell you it was,
1270 South
78,
Sixth Street. Demolished it.
Didn't we still have a contract with Joel then too?
maybe, like part of the year, I think.
Misty,
Yes.
are we sure that the 250 is enough for the gloves, masks, et cetera, respirators, all
Yeah.
that stuff?
I mean, not totally sure, but we're all okay with that number. If there's something else needed, we do have other places we can get it from, or there's contingency. This budget, all of our budgets, according to the Department of Legislative Audit, we are held to the department total. So if he doesn't spend the 5,000 in the repairs and maintenance, and he spends 550 in supplies and materials, going over by $300, as long as it's not over the department total, we don't have an issue.
I'm just concerned they don't got enough gloves.
Good
Well,
question.
For what's coming up, hopefully,
Hopefully.
it would be used.
Would anybody want to increase that, or are you okay with sticking with that figure?
I'm good for now.
Okay. Airport is the next one to the right. A new airport manager this year. The previous airport manager didn't need part-time help. We used to budget for that, so, and then with the new employee, there is a little bit of a decrease in the salaries and wages as he works his way up the scale. Our last airport manager was top of scale, so. We're estimating the services and fees, that MSA, that's our credit card processing fees for the fueling station. Less in vehicle repairs and maintenance because we got rid of the courtesy cars. Well, we didn't get rid of them completely, we got rid of 3 of them.
Is that panning out overall?
I think it's fine. I haven't heard any complaints.
Yes, it seems to be working fine.
So how many do we have? Just one?
2.
Two?
Yeah, 1 and a
Oh,
backup.
Yeah,
1 and a backup, and then his truck is what it's
so 3 vehicles.
One is the primary, and then for courtesy, and then the other one is backup. Let's see, dropped the airport fuel for resale a little bit for expense, because it dropped it in revenue a little bit, but they offset each other, so if we sell more, we'll be able to buy more. Telephone's highlighted for that same reason. There's really not a lot of big changes. Without the courtesy cards, we did lower the gas, oil, and diesel.
We dropped the agricultural supplies.
We did.
Yeah. Weed spray chemicals, noxious weed control.
It seems like there's quite a supply out there of what we need
Oh.
on hand.
Residual bulk that we have.
Thank you, Ariel. Estimating electricity and propane. The electricity went up because of the T-hangers. Last year, we were estimating the increase. We got a little bit better idea now this year, but still estimating. A new machinery and equipment has a new vigilant security system, a new laptop for the manager, and 3 new cameras at the airport. And then the computer software with our AWAS, there's software that we'll have to pay for every year. It's $5,250, probably goes up every year a little bit, so that number is significantly larger than you're used to seeing in the past. And if you remember, in 2025, we paid 5 years of our QT pod, which is the fueling station software. We paid 5 years, so we're paid through June 2029, but I keep those notes in there because that is an expense that we'll have every year. Just to remind us that in 2029, if we do 5 years again, we're gonna have another about $5,000 expense, so. Didn't think we changed anything in the airport, we're at $167,696. And the next one over.
May I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Who is the new airport manager?
His name is Hunter Kutchin, and so far, so good. Cemetery is our next one. We have one full-time and a part-time seasonal shared employee. It's a 9% decrease estimated. Remember I said with these shared employees, we'll see some increases, some decreases. I'm doing my best to estimate. Everything in this one is very similar to years before. There's a decrease in sewer water repairs, but still planning on faucets, fittings, water spigots, water line leak repair. Little bit of an increase in gas, oil, and diesel. She would like to do some repairs on some old signs. Those are all done in-house, so that's mostly materials. She does attend the annual safety conference and is asking for 2 new weed whackers at $600 in machinery and equipment.
Now I have a question about the 2 weed whackers.
Yeah.
Because cemetery is showing a cost of $600. Now when you go to parks, they're asking for 2 weed whackers at $1,800.
Guess that the type is different, but Ariel met with them, so
Let
we'll
me
see.
open parks. That is all their other minor tools plus 2 weed whackers.
Okay.
So they're about 300 apiece at Bongart's right now.
Okay.
And then in computer software, they pay for the cemetery information, the hosting on our website. It's separate from our website because we couldn't move all the data over. So $702 is the amount for that. And then the cemetery map and every lot is in an old AutoCAD that can't be updated anymore. And so similar to what we did for Tracy, she's looking for an AutoCAD license for her laptop or terminal or whatever, so that she can continue to make updates to that map.
You also have them all on paper too, don't
Yeah, yeah, the big roll.
Unfortunately.
We got all kinds of papers.
you? We have $500 for travel conference.
Yes,
Where do they go?
annual safety conference.
Oh,
It helps
okay.
us keep our gold,
Yeah.
or hopefully sometime we'll get to bronze status, which gives us a reduction in our premiums paid. And you have to have a safety employee available at the safety conference every year to continue to get those credits. So, without any changes, I have $94,114 in cemeteries.
No changes for you?
Great. Next one to the right is transit. That's where we paid a subsidy to Prairie, or donation to Prairie Hills Transit. We created the department in 2018, but we have been supporting Prairie Hills Transit longer than that. And they requested $30,000. I sent out the request with the cover sheet. She strongly encourages you to leave it at 30 in that document that I sent you. I might not say her words correctly, so please review that. We can leave this or change it, and we can come back to it. But $30,000 is what they requested, so that's what I have in the budget.
Was it the request last year too?
We lowered here, I got it in the general fund. The request last year, oh, I didn't put the requested amount in this one, but last year I think it was higher, and you lowered it to 10. And so,
We lowered it to 5.
Yeah, we lowered it from 5.
oh, I was looking at Shedco, I'm sorry, you're right, we did lower it to 5.
That's what we should be paying Chad for this year.
Well, we'll get to Shedco, but right now we're at
Fight you on that one.
Prairie Hills Transit, and we can leave it and come back to it, or we can address it now.
I'll open the discussion that they've asked for 30. I'd suggest we give them 10 for operating and maintenance and 10 for the vehicle.
Do
So
we
drop
want
it-
to specify?
Well, okay, I'd drop it to 20. That's
Which
my
would be
opening.
Doubling what we gave them last year.
Could be more than doubling if we only get
Oh,
5.
yeah, quadrupling.
No,
Quadrupling.
3 times, because we gave it 5,000 last year. So if you give
20, 15, I hear 15 and I hear 20.
I'd say 10.
And
They do a service for Hot Springs.
so
You
does,
know, but they get lots of grants and stuff too.
I don't know.
But I think they also go and they ask the county for money too.
How about we leave this until we get all the way through and we know where our deficit is, and that gives us a good chunk to be playing with. Either
Our deficit's at 244 right now.
Is this something we need to be subsidizing at all?
I think so.
We don't have a taxi service in town.
We used to have a tax, and that would compensate, but we don't have that no more. And it is a vital service for a lot of the elderly and for those that are in homes. So I wouldn't be for cutting them out, but I don't know that I can say with the deficit that we've got right now, that 30,000 is acceptable.
Just a question.
No, I'm just saying, yeah, I'm
Appreciate
just
it.
kind of
I
throwing
agree,
it out.
Bill.
20?
If we're gonna cut it, put it 20, not 10.
I got 2 for 20.
Actually, if you want to know the truth, I was gonna say 15, because we're cutting it in half, and that's still a $10,000 increase from what we got last year. And we still have a deficit we gotta do work at, so.
That's why I think that with this and Chedco and I think there's another one, that we should just set those aside till we get it.
Until we get to the very end.
I
of the
think
notice.
all of them need cut then if we're cutting one.
And we can cut it and come back to it, but we're not, we still got another 9 in it.
So
So
go with the 15.
got 2 for 15,
I'm at 20.
I'll do 15.
3 for 15, 2 for 20. Three and 3, 15.
There gets voted on this too.
Yep. I mean, we're not really voting, we're just
Yeah.
determining, so I got 3 and 3, 15 or 20.
I'm saying
There's a lot I want to say, but I need to abstain.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, you
thanks,
said
Greg, I
15, you
appreciate it.
said 20. Linda? 15. Gary?
Yeah, 15.
All right, I'm gonna lower that one to 15, unless Mary, I'm not asking you, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
that's,
figuring you'll speak up from you. Okay.
I expect,
A long way to
coming
go.
up pretty soon.
Got a long ways to go.
Yeah, I'm not for
All right, so I have 15,000 in transit, I'm moving over to rabies and animal control, I have 24,000, the same amount as the previous year. Not sure if we had any communication with them about any of those increases, but they haven't come to us either, so. Any
I think
change?
realistically, are they doing anything?
Yeah, I
That's
think
the
so,
animal
I mean, they're
control.
storing all the animals in
It's
town.
collected, yeah.
We get a report about once a month with all of their calls, and I would say they take 15+ calls every month.
And you saw that animal fines, control fines that were up in the general fund revenue.
I mean, they're not gonna be able to solve the wildcat problem. It's a every person problem.
I will say, driving that bus around, that I get a chance to see them out, they're always out doing
They
something.
come within 3 to 5 minutes when we called it. Earlier this year, there was a dog that I watched almost get hit by a car, so I brought her to City Hall, and they were there within 5 minutes to collect that dog. So, and that's just us personally, I'm sure everyone else is calling in when they see things like that too.
I put something on Facebook and she was at my door. So, yeah, good response.
Actually, they do a good job. I have 2 family members that had to deal with them, and they got their dog within 4 hours.
And say their hearts in the right place.
And so, them coming from other major cities, said they got a better response out of our small town than they did anywhere else.
I believe that.
That's a lot less than what we pay for
Euthanizing.
our own employee, of one employee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it still saves us money.
Less than that year where we paid to kill every cat that came into custody. That was bad. All right, so if we're okay with that one, I'm gonna move over to recreation. The request for salaries and wages was a 65.8% increase. Ariel and I knocked it down. I thought we could knock it down a little bit more. It's a 17% increase. at 35,000, but we left a little in there for you guys to determine. If you look at what we spent and where we're at year-to-date, we don't want to limit the program, but we also have other services within the general fund that we have to cover. So I think our 2025 amount that was spent, and I think we budgeted 25 or 30, even in 2025, was 20,500. In 2026, we're almost at the end of July, we've spent 17,000. We can leave it at 35, which is a 17% increase over the 26 amount, or you can look to shave a few thousand off here if you like.
I think
I'm
we're
not-
shade $5,000.
Misty, I'm not advocating either way, but what I am saying is, all those drivers, we do transport a lot of the kids to different programs, and one, the kids are excited, two, the parents, they're very grateful as to what is happening here. What they're doing, to me, as far as the summer program for kids, is phenomenal. It's gone from this to now it's this, and it includes a lot of things, and I'll tell you what, I enjoy teaching martial arts for 5 years to them, and it's great, I love it.
I would agree. Ariel, you can share Gabby's thoughts on this.
So this originally went up so much because we were trying to use a new method to estimate the wages. We were looking at each class and how many hours we thought it would take and how many weeks it would last, and that's what gave us this huge number. Along with, each part-time person is owed an extra 50 cents an hour for the 4 years that they stay with the city, and we have a lot of recreation teachers that are at or above that 4 years, so they're making $15 an hour or so to teach recreation. She will work within whatever you guys give her, but we are looking for a small increase.
So it's not just her wages, there's
No.
how many
There are-
instructors that she's paying
Yes.
out. There's a huge amount.
And I would say that 25 and 26, that was the same case then. When we had because we do have a lot of repeat, especially the instructors, assistants typically are young, but they've been coming back year after year too, so.
And we are showing a marginal, or very marginal participation.
Yep, which is great participation. And we love the software she implemented for registrations. City Hall's just receiving in money. We're no longer participating in the sign up and enrollment.
That was such a pain for y'all.
Oh, yeah.
How much?
Percentage is our full-time employees getting
What do you mean?
raised for?
We are
Giving
asked-
her 17%.
No, that's not giving it to her directly. It's an estimated salaries and wages increase.
For
And everybody's getting the 75 cents that I talked about. No, Larry, I didn't say that. Everybody's not getting 75 cents.
You just
We
said-
are estimating the state minimum wage increase, which we share across all employees, full-time and part-time in all departments. This is the same for this one.
The 17% is going from 30 to 35,000. That is not a per employee.
Yeah, and she will
raise.
work within.
That's for all her employees?
Yes. Yes.
Cumulative.
All recreation employees, yeah.
Okay, and so with that being said, she has come to you and went to start some more programs, right?
This is not to add new programs.
No, I know that, but in her eyes, she wants to add, she's got room to add more.
If there was an unlimited amount of money, she would probably add more, but at this time, adding the money does not necessarily add specific programs for her.
And we
They
have a
might-
good amount of
They might
programs.
extend a program a week or two or something like that. The big one she's looking at really is girls softball. She's finally got enough participation that there will be some travel games. She should have enough for 2 teams, so they can not only play each other, but go places and play other teams.
I would support,
You would say what,
I would support that.
35,000?
If the program keeps growing the way it's seemed to be growing for the last 5 years, for that small of an investment into our community and the kids, that's really nothing. If you would hope to look at what you're offering as a community.
Okay. So I here, leave it 35.
I agree.
Any objection? Okay, fine. Fine with that. Services and fees includes some Black Hills Technology, the WSI certs, that's per person, umpires, supplies and materials, same as last year. The Black Hills Technology recommends a new laptop for the director. And then this computer software is worth every penny of the $800 for Sports Engine, and then the Black Hills Technology Sentinel one. So I have a total with no changes of $44,667 in recreation. Next one over is the senior citizens activities. They did request a $500 increase. They shared several reasons why in the letter that they submitted with their financials, which you should all have. $5,000 is what they're requesting.
Turn too many pages.
Or you just got messed up. There you go. Any changes to that? Or delete that?
I have absolutely no issue with
No, it's
I
good.
don't
We're
think
leaving
it's
it.
fine. That's good to me.
Moving over to parks. I don't mean to cut anybody off, so if I'm going too fast, please stop me.
You're awful quiet over here.
It scares me.
Parks,
You need to be scared.
has a 1.5% increase is all in salaries and wages. One full-time, one part-time seasonal. Sometimes we get a couple of our other seasonals that help out parks depending on the projects. Potentially transmission will go, we have 2,000 in vehicle repairs. You added that note from your budget talks with them. It's an 09 Chevy Silverado. What's going on with this transmission?
They think it's on the brink, so they're waiting till it goes, but they, even last year budgeted 2,000 to do the transmission, thinking it might,
And it's not really something they want to do until it does.
until it goes.
Here we have in building repairs and maintenance, 30,000. As Bill was talking about some things being one-time improvements, we also tried to note projects that we are not planning on being able to accomplish in 2026, that were budgeted for 2026. And although we don't carry over budgeted dollars, the money that's not spent goes into our unassigned fund balance. So the Kidney Springs gazebos is one of those projects where we budgeted for it this year, but turned into a bigger job, like most things do, than we expected. And so now we have a plan, a new plan, and we're looking to accomplish it in 2027. So we have 30,000 with 25 of that going to the ongoing Kidney Springs gazebo repairs, and then 5,000 to the masonry on the fountain. Ariel, would you add anything to cover it pretty good? Okay.
What do you gotta do? The fountain in the other park?
The
No, so
masonry.
the fountain right next to Kitty Springs where the water comes out, if you go up to it, it is deteriorated. It's starting to crumble and pull rocks off of it. The easy solution would be just, nice clean concrete it over, but that's obviously not what we want it to look like. So we'll need a real mason to come in and try to do that.
We should really talk to our lawyers about that water. Has that sign saying all this health stuff, we don't know what that water is.
It also says,
Dated.
do not
Do not drink?
Drink at your own
Your own
risk
risk or something, yeah. And isn't it dated? Didn't the analysis have a date on it from when it was done? Like, it's just historical.
I used to drink that, and my hair fell out.
Any changes to the 30,000
Bill did too.
in building repairs and maintenance? Y'all okay with that?
Well, I had a 20-minute discussion with Jerry Cohen the other day that went an hour and a half. But anyway,
Only 30 minutes.
it was a good discussion. He brought up some really good
Here's about
points.
our parks.
And I said that I was gonna bring it up in budget tonight, I covered that, so I'm going to. His wish list is really pretty small, dollar-wise is pretty small. And I don't know if this is probably come under buildings or improvements other than buildings. We're not talking more than $2,000. And I think they've got that money donated, so it's just something that I said I'd bring up, but I don't know if this is proper time.
What's it for? What's it
Well,
for?
it's for the bang board for the at the tennis court, I guess the pickleball players bounce balls off of that too. And the Elks Club has given them some money, and apparently Brett, him, he's part of another organization, they've got some money, the lumberyard is going to give a break on the materials. We're not talking much, but I think he just really wanted to have a conversation. He wanted someone to listen to him, and I think it went very well. And I told him, maybe I spoke on school here in Albert, I told him you and I would go out there and take a look at that sometime.
Well, Gerald and I have talked about it as well. I threw the idea out to
He
both
said that.
Gerald and the Fall River
Yep.
Community Foundation, that might be a good project to do if they're looking for something to put their name on.
He was very complimentary about doing that, he just wanted some follow-up on it, so.
Yeah,
And I guess
so-
he reached out to me because I'm the board for it.
If they're interested in donating, typically that's not something we,
Budget.
budget for because it's just offset. So whenever they're ready, I think we're interested. We're
They put
absolutely
the
in.
band boards on those, 3 years ago?
Yep.
Brand new ones.
Yep.
What I looked at today is what is all brought about, I think so. This is, maybe I'll look at something different.
I know we're probably getting off track here in this conversation, but did you look at the basketball ones over here? Because that was an issue when I was on Parks and Rec, so that may be something totally different.
Those are very nice to basketball, he pointed out how wonderful they are.
Right.
This is to that, and I made clear to him that I'm not on Parks and Recreation, but I am his representative board for us, so he reached out to me, and I felt I need to be responsible.
Yeah, we appreciate that input. So, I'm leaving the building repairs and maintenance, 30,000 McKinney Springs gazebo and the fountain masonry, knowing that 25 of that 30 is 2026 unspent dollars. The other ones are the same. I would have the same comments on the street/walk repairs. Butler Park sidewalk/trail and Freedom Trail repairs, 12,000 of that is unspent 2026. And then you thought maybe we'd hear something before this meeting?
Yeah, so about 3,000 of that, we are gonna get done on the Freedom Trail below the viaduct where it is,
That one spot, right?
yes, the big crack.
So 9,000 unspent. It will-
They're gonna be
is
out.
what-
No,
Sourced or
that
gonna be in-house?
3,000 is,
The 15,
Yep.
okay.
so
So
12
that
is
is an
right.
update, okay.
So you're saying it's not gonna be in-house, it'll be outsourced?
No, we'll be doing it this year. It'll be our guys bringing in the concrete truck and, yeah.
All right.
I guess I just, my typical comment is that again is not a annual recurring expense.
Hopefully not.
And also for these two is money that hopefully we'll see as a savings and a profit from not spending it in 2026. So we're just kind of reallocating that money for the project in 2027.
I still would like to push for the sidewalk, or the walking trail around the west and the south side of that Legion field to get redone. I mean, it's essentially non-existent. They've expanded that T-ball court down there, or field, I should say. And there's a lot of dog walkers and just regular walkers. And I know I did ask for that area to get plowed in the winter. And it is helpful, it decreases the fall risk that happens during, if you just walk on snow and it becomes real lumpy and it's a fall risk. People taking the old trail, but I still would like that on a wish list somewhere someday.
Is the Butler Park sidewalk portion of this?
Yeah,
So
so
that,
some of it is repairs. It's not necessarily a new trail. I know there's been a lot of talk about, well, why don't we extend the trail up at Butler to wrap around the whole thing?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we might consider in the
If you got a
future.
good grant.
Yeah,
I'll add it also to the I've already started the 2028 notes, because a lot of these, you'll see when we get to the enterprise funds, they told us of a wish list for future, even some of the general funds, so we're gonna add
Keep in
those
mind,
notes.
you know, looking for grants that might cover that.
That
The
would not
recreational
be cheap.
trails grant.
That would not be cheap.
No, I know. It'd probably be a recreational trails grant.
Okay, going backwards, that's why you're talking about with some of the write up. Okay, now when we did the walk with the Corps of Engineers, and we were there when they were talking about the washout underneath, you're basically in the same area. It might be a way for you to talk with the state about that, to the Corps of Engineers, but at the same time, talk to them about when they, if they're to do any masonry work, whether or not we can do it in crack at the same time. You'd be buying the cement, you could have all those people there anyway. You can have our guys receive the cement and repair that.
Well, and if they're gonna have machinery down there at all,
Yep.
we want them cracking or breaking that.
That way we can manipulate what the state has to do along with the project we can do.
And wasn't that a discussion a while back too, and that was brought up, that the state was going to do that because it was a result of that? I think that we had talked about the
Yeah.
parks, so.
And that's why I'm saying,
Right.
if we're gonna be looking at taking care of that walkway, and the problem they already have under the viaduct that is required by Corps of Engineers, the state will have to come in and do that, because that is their portion. So it might be feasible to manipulate that so we can get the cement in bulk as opposed to buying a small batch, you understand what I'm saying?
That's the conversation that I remember.
Right. So you might look into that.
What are the stairs under
212.
202?
212, yeah. Highlighted is fence and tools, 6,000, the other 7,000 is about the same. I think I said this last year on record too, if we could get people to stop vandalizing the park bathrooms, that would be really great, and the parks in general.
Because they lock them at night like they do, or they used to.
They're supposed to be.
So the 6,000,
Call it in if you see one
Yeah.
not unlocked at midnight.
I won't be there.
Trail cams.
yeah, that just shows you what happened though, and it might not even catch anybody,
Go
but.
after 'em.
6,000 for fence tool, that's 300 foot of fencing at the Mueller Civic Center soccer field. The estimate is 5,500 to 8,000.
Yep, so we're looking at doing this long stretch along the Freedom Trail, between the Freedom Trail and the soccer field. Hopefully keep some wandering dogs off of it, and hopefully keep the balls from going up and into the river.
And if you talk to some of the volunteers that help at the soccer field, you might get some labor, you might get some materials.
So this is a contracted out price. We typically do that for our fencing. The soccer team has been great about volunteering to do their own projects down there, like the backboard and, painting of the sheds and stuff like that. They've even offered to, help with the bleachers. Not out of the question, but the quote we have in there for dollars is contract.
So you got 6,000 for fencing for a year.
Yep,
What happened to the ballpark fencing?
we did it.
It's done too.
Did it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's all done.
It's all brand new.
I have not been over there.
You go home, drive up that way.
I don't live there. Get this road there.
And again, a one-off expense.
Yep. We have 3,000 in supplies, and we also have a note that says MCC soccer field drainage supplies 3,000, so is that all we're planning on spending?
No, I think that maybe should have been 6. That was something else we're not sure will get done in 2026 or not. We have some money to address the drainage problems between Frankfurt Holtz and the soccer field.
For this year.
Right. So, yeah, that probably should have said 6,000.
But then we would have cut it down to 3 and said do it this year. So we're gonna leave it at 3, we're gonna try to do that this year, where the money is. Yeah, clothing and PPE, well, we're getting used to the new way this is working. It's all accounted for in highway, streets, and roadways. Janitorial supplies went up just a little bit.
A little bit, $500.
Yeah,
So that'll get you a case of
full paper.
food paper.
No, you can get more, but, grass seed, the agricultural supplies, we are looking for some better seed for the high-use Centennial and soccer fields. The Kidney Springs sign, so signs is up 500, and we're looking to replace that awful big sign, that's pretty damaged, with something metal, like, more like the Utica.
Similar to the one down
Dog
in
park.
Utica Dog Park, yeah.
So,
Is that the gazebo you're talking
yeah, the big Kidney Springs gazebo sign, that's bigger than any, welcome to the city of Hot Springs.
about? I thought we were going to include that in the wayfinding order. We had
Not,
discussed it anyway.
oh, I don't know when.
Before you.
I placed our wayfinding order, those signs are shipping this week,
Okay.
Well, it used to be
After
really big
years.
signs between the park, Raccoon Park and the Legion, so.
There still is a sign at Centennial Park,
Yep.
a two-sided
Maybe.
sign.
I mean,
Big
it's
size?
probably the same size as the Utica one, not
Well,
as big as
this-
Kidney Springs.
This one was a real big one,
Oh.
at the Legion, right there at the end of the
Or
park.
surface area to vandalize.
Yeah,
You don't remember that?
Yeah, that one belonged to the Legion.
Oh, did
That
it?
wasn't ours.
Yeah, they took it.
Oh, I haven't.
the other larger expense improvement other than buildings, we have 21,000, that's port lights, LED, and ballasts. And I think we've talked about this at council meetings and park updates and the city administrator updates, why that's needed. And then some more picnic tables for Centennial Park, and we're sticking with the ones that don't need stained and redone every year, the metal mesh coated. So 8 to 12,000.
Where's these,
Those tables have proven themselves over the
Where's
years.
these
Those
LED
tables, handicap accessible.
Yes, there are some that are.
Where's these LED lights being put up at?
The tennis, football courts,
Tennis, pickleball, basketball.
that court.
Those lights that are there, that we discussed in the past, they're so old and
The ballasts are bad.
it costs us more putting Band-Aids on it than it would just make the investment change over. And then it would actually be more mainstream, to be able to get parts and stuff like that, more reasonable price.
And we should see some cost savings in the electricity.
Yeah, well, that's a secondary, but really maintenance and Band-Aids that we keep putting on it.
Well,
is just
It might be big with the way that timer wasn't working right and the lights were on all night and day. We got the timer fixed and then realized that there was a problem with the lights, not just the timer, so. Between those two fixes, it should be a.
It's been in countless committees
Yep.
Yes, it
for
does. Yes.
4 years.
I know.
$213,515 in the parks budget unchanged?
Becky, yeah, just a second. We did
Yep.
cover machinery and equipment.
Yes.
Are we pretty well set in parks as far as lawnmowers, good?
We're getting the new mower this year that we budgeted for instead of next year, so.
They don't have it yet?
No, you guys just approved a supplemental appropriation.
Last
It probably won't be delivered till November.
So it'll be a new one for next year.
Is that parks more, is that shared with, is anybody else in the city that needs that mower, or is that used to place?
We're trading it in. We're trading in the old one.
Typically though, when mowers get old to the point of not being worth trade-in value, they are given to another department that could use them.
The reason I ask is, I don't think but my information's always current as this afternoon. I don't think they have a functioning lawnmower out there.
Yes, they do. They got a new
We
one.
just took 3 airport mowers that weren't functioning to water, and they fixed them.
Because the airport got a new one.
And there's a small problem with the airport mower, but it is just a minor electrical had the golf course fix it. It's happening again, they'll probably fix it again. It's a good zero turn mower, it's fairly new out there.
And they had just stockpiled the 3 she's talking about that came from the golf course and weren't fixing them. They were just in a corner.
They were basically for parts and extra.
And water tournament working mowers with just.
Well, like I said,
a few
my
hundred
information's always current, it's 3 o'clock this afternoon. So maybe it's an operator issue, I've got photographs here.
They do have a working mower. So after parks is libraries. If they didn't have any more changes for the
I
parks.
think Gary's still, that's something.
That's airport.
She's still on here.
Okay.
So how long's the mower been broke? 'Cause some of that grass and weeds is pretty tall out there for it.
Yeah, that mower's probably been up at the golf course for a week or 2 now.
Are we talking about the airport?
Since water
parks
took
now?
3 and got them all running, why isn't there one back up in here?
He's talking about,
Why did
There
they
probably,
need 3?
there probably should have been one.
Well, it's not too late, we haven't transferred any capital assets, so we can just, let's talk about that, because they don't need 3 either, they only have 3 employees, so.
Miss,
Yeah, my
are you
question
talking
was,
about
you know-
airport or parks?
Well,
Uh,
combination. I was-
Yeah,
my question
and
was-
water, we're talking about mowers.
So this question was, if we
Well,
had,
we were on
we had
parks.
enough money for, to provide the people the equipment that they need, parks, the airport, or whomever else it might be. That was my question.
If
Do we
they're
need to be
sharing,
budgeting
you
for
wanted to know if they were sharing.
whatever might work, it makes sense.
When the need arises, there is sharing, so.
And we should look at, if all 3 of those got fixed and are functioning, maybe there should be a backup located at the airport. And it's a 2021 to 72-inch zero turn mower that the airport does have, it's 4 years old.
I don't.
Should well be under warranty,
I just
still
saw what I saw, and
functioning.
like I said, my information was for this one vehicle this afternoon.
it's in the warranty, golf course shouldn't be fixing it, the company should be that they got it from.
I don't know
I'll look into that.
The warranty is usually going to last you, but if you got an extended 18 months, that's a year.
On a mower? Well, we'll look at it.
Yeah, when I bought mine, it was 1 year, 100 feet.
I think
100 feet away from the building or a year.
Moving on.
Library budget?
Did your
Library.
wife get a mower for 100 feet?
No, she don't.
Library, look at us moving along. So library has a 1.8% increase in salaries and wages, pretty standard. Been pretty good on keeping employees, had a little bit of turnover last year. Everything is about the same. Building repairs, they're looking to seal the logs, and this is something that we're looking to do internally. Ariel will let you share a little bit more on that.
Yes, so this 12,000, we think will buy all of the sealant. Wesley thinks we can get the logs sealed in about a day with just a few guys and sprayers. This will be something we should do more often than we've done it. This might be the first time it's been done.
Historically, it wasn't, when it was first built, it was done, and it was supposed to be part of the process every year, but then it never got done. So it's something that Mary and I looked at, and I said, you know, this needs to be done, because this building will fall apart.
And we appreciate Wesley's ambition, and with his other roof repairs at the library, he did get that done, lickety split for
If
last
we
summer.
gave him the go-ahead, if he'd had the logs done yesterday,
Those
so.
back logs looks good straight.
So you said 12,000 is 15,000 now?
Yeah, the HVAC is the other 3,000. Everything else pretty similar, unless you want me to stop somewhere. Do you know if they got the E-rate credits back?
She's been, I don't quite understand how that works. I know she has to reapply, and it seems like, you know, we'll go
Goes
so
in
long
arrears,
without it.
And then we have so much of a
and then,
credit?
yes,
Yeah.
yep.
As long as she's still working on it, I know it does take some time. Water fountain and leaf blower are the machinery and equipment items she wants to get. The leaf blower is less for leaves and more for snow, so when the guys come and shovel them out in the morning, if there's just a light dusting, the library ladies will go out and blow off the walkway so they don't have to come back and shovel some more. Computer software is about the same. Books are at 10,000. As you look back in the history, I would remind you that books are historically supplemented annually with grant and donation money. We talked a little bit about grants not getting applied for lately at the library. Did you guys talk about that at all and why they?
No, I think we and I had that conversation after I met with her, and she was one of my first.
So where do we want to put the water fountain?
Where it is, they're replacing the existing
The
water
water
fountain.
fountain at the library?
Yeah, right by the bathrooms.
No. Oh, drinking fountain.
Drinking fountain, yeah, sorry.
I've never seen one.
Drinking water fountain. At first I was like, hey, you've never seen that, but now I get it.
So what, so we don't know why they haven't been online for this?
Maybe they have been and haven't been getting them, maybe they haven't, we need to ask that question. Because we had some pretty standard annual grants we were getting, with Stephanie Miller Davis, I can't think of all the names, but it's
There's
been.
quite a few ladies that were actually working on it.
Yeah.
And they got quite a few.
Yeah, and it's been a little while since we've seen any of those, so, 10,000 for books, and then the subscriptions are the American Library Association, EBSCO, Book Page, Herald, Custer, Chronicle, and Library Journal. So we have $343,705 unchanged for the library budget.
I can't see any more changes.
Auditorium Mueller Center is the next one. 2% increase, one full-time, one year-round, part-time. Nothing big changed here. Building repairs and maintenance, we did move a couple real important items to the 211 fund. If you'll remember that fund, 80%, oh, is it, should we take a break?
No, it's just that my knee was throbbing
Break.
from having it.
I think we need it. It's been a while.
So, a part-time guy at Mueller Center, should he be
We are ready to get
Appreciate
started.
confidence.
At the Mueller Center, I stopped at the building repairs and maintenance, $37,100. This is priority high to low. The gym accordion doors need replaced. That's about $12,000. The men's restroom drain repairs, about $12,000. Cove heat in the dressing rooms, $2,000. And we left the parapet coping rehab. Can you explain what that is?
No, I'm not a roofer.
I'm not sure.
I know it has to do with the metal roof, and I think it is,
Over the theater, and it's something to do with fire.
it has something to do with the pieces that stick up out of the roof and are like fire vents.
Yeah.
You know where the birds come in?
Where you see the daylight?
Yeah.
That's 11,100. There was much more in here, but when we get to the 211 fund, we moved some of the building repairs and maintenance because that's what that fund is established for. And there is some available funds in there to do those repairs, and it helped soften the deficit in the general fund to move those to the 211 fund. And that is by statute and ordinance can only be spent on this and the depot, this building and the depot, so.
So any more of that, any more of that 37,100 can be moved?
I don't think so, because we only have so much in that fund. It doesn't have a lot of money in it, so we moved what we thought it could. And these are priority high to low, but anything that comes off would have to be bumped to the next year because it needs to get done.
Well, that's, it'll sound like a broken record.
One
These,
time.
these are not general repetitive maintenance things. These are things that need to get fixed, right?
And let's all be honest with ourselves, that if we don't take care of them as they come up, it's 37,000.
Only get worse.
Yeah, they're-
$72,000.
I would
I
agree.
don't think things get cheaper.
Machinery and equipment has outside camera and computer replacement and 85-inch screens in the theater. We have a
Christie,
total.
can I go back to one
Absolutely.
building repair?
Yep.
I don't know if this refers to this in that way, but this doesn't include, did they get that leak fixed over there in that corner? And as far as the water coming in, heating the building, is this part of that or is that not part of that? Or is that's
We had Atlas
Yeah.
Roofing, come get the roof watertight. So it is fine for now, but there is more that should be done as far as the roof goes, and you'll see more of those in the 211 fund. We are going after the insurance of the original company that did the metal roof on this building.
I submitted the claim today.
No, they disappeared.
It's not final.
Yeah,
completely
they
disappeared what
disappeared,
you're
yeah.
looking for, right? Okay.
So you get primary repairs, built, heating, and monitoring.
Yes.
Unchanged Mueller Center total $179,036. Next budget is economic development and assistance. That's where we make the donation to Shedco, and then also where we pay our residential tax rebates out of, which are getting smaller. And I'm so excited to be hopefully getting close to the end of those. So we have 20,000 as a request from Shedco and 10,000 for residential tax rebate for a total of 30,000 in this budget.
So we could take 10,000 off of Shedco.
I would.
I don't agree at all.
Just kidding, Bill.
Good.
Were you just kidding? Okay.
And when I said something earlier, she said, I wouldn't go for that.
How much more time do we got on those rebates?
I think 2028 is my estimated payoff. Because it was 5 years, you could get up to 5 years, but they finished their homes at different times.
Right,
So I think 2028 or 2029 is my estimated
I was
end date.
thinking like it was 6 months into 20.
But that continues of other people building new houses.
No,
No,
we
we
stopped it.
This is it?
Yes, we are paying it out and hopefully being done with it.
And 2028 should be a long time away, but it's.
Still a
Well,
couple
that
years.
right there.
2028 or 2029. I don't think it goes into 2030. I should have put that out here, I'm sorry. Transfers out, we've used that to transfer money for the road reconstruction. That's why it's there, because we have had it. So I moved from economic development because I heard no changes. I got 30,000 in that one. We can
That
always
would
come
kill
back
me if
to
I
it.
do it.
So we are doing fantastic. Our general fund projected loss now is down to 229,665. If you remember, we were down the night at 371,565. So we're down to 229,665 in the general fund.
Does that include that, jet truck and?
No, that would be in wastewater,
I know, but that's included in our deficit that we've got.
not in the general fund. This is just the general fund
Oh.
departments. Yeah. And I would remind you, I brought along the cash balance in the funds that the general fund is maintaining. If we do look to subsidize with cash applied, as of 7/24, the general fund balance is a little over 5 million. So I would say that we would have some funds available to cash apply the one-time or carried over 2026 expenses we've discussed. I have the requested and budgeted amounts, and we changed Prairie Hills to 15, so I'm gonna add that in there. And I'm gonna move on from the general fund and then hit for the rest of the 45 minutes we have tonight. I hope to get through the 211, 213, 501, 612, and 701. Those are all pretty easy. So I'm gonna move from the total fund, 101 general fund, just one to the right, to the 211 general fund. I'm sorry, 211 liquor, lodging, and dining fund. You thought yours was messed up, now mine changes directions. This is where we added building repairs and maintenance, roof, valley, and flashing rehab for the Mueller Center, $13,900, and exterior brick water repellent of $16,100 for a total of $30,000 building repairs and maintenance.
You talked about you said the
211.
liquor lodge.
Yep, liquor lodging and dining fund, it's right here.
Oh,
Yep.
I was looking
Telephone, electricity, and then our other current expenses, 80% of what we plan to collect goes to the chamber. We have $230,100.
But, now, help me understand. On the original, with the roof, the insurance was done. The money was there, but now you're saying we're having to spend another $30,000 on the Mueller Center roof?
We had an insurance claim for hail. We split the roof into 3 different people doing 3 different projects on the roof. It was bid out 3 times. One roofer, we took the low bid, it was not good. They extended the project, they didn't do a very good job. Well, we didn't know they didn't do a very good job, so we had signed off on their work. We tried to get them back to honor warranty stuff, they haven't, they've been
That was Atlas.
gone, that's, no,
Freedom.
Atlas is the one that came and fixed it all.
That was fixed on-
Freedom is the one that
Freedom.
disappeared, basically.
And when you say fix it all, they made it watertight.
Right.
There's still some stuff that needs done. As Ariel mentioned, we are trying to file a claim against their insurer. Not sure how that's gonna turn out. We still need this work done. This does, budgeting for these repairs does put the 211 fund in a deficit, $12,100. And I put my cash balance worksheet away too far, but that fund currently has an available cash balance of about $75,000. So to take $12,100 and shore up this roof, we would not be in a deficit in that fund. We have available cash to apply. It is specifically what this fund and these taxes are collected for, so we felt comfortable moving that much of the money into the 211 fund from the general.
Good, thanks.
Yep. Any questions, concerns, or changes you'd like to see? In your fund accounting worksheets, we still had $17,000, which was an amount we put in there just to use up the rest of the cash, thinking something might come up, but we changed that to 30. So if you have 17 in there in your fund accounting budget worksheets, that is now 30, and the total for the 211 fund we're projecting is $230,100.
230,000.
Yep.
That 17,900 is what?
It's 30,000.
30,000.
We're moving the 17,000 to 30,000?
Yep. And really, we just plugged the 17 in there because there was cash available. We knew stuff might come up. But then after we looked at the general fund deficit and we looked at the Mueller Center repairs needed, we chose to move 30 of it to here, which puts that 211 fund in a deficit of 12,100. But as I mentioned, there's cash available. And it's restricted cash. Can't use it for roads. Has to be used for these purposes. So we thought it was the right place to put that. I'm going to skip over 212 just in the hopes that we can get through these other easy ones tonight. That's a little bit bigger, and we also have to discuss the subsidies with that one. So I'm going to jump over to the 213 bid fund if everybody's ready for that.
213.
Yeah. Our Business Improvement District Fund, and as I mentioned, 213. Skipping over 212, going to 213. Our projected revenue in that fund hopefully is low and we get everybody back on track and collecting and we have more, but we wanted to budget our expenses at that same amount, and that only leaves in the $65,000 that's matched by the South Dakota Tourism Grant, which doubles our money. So we have $65,050 in publishing and $10,000 for city fireworks at $75,050, which matches our projected revenue. The bid fund also you know, in case they have another rough year, they're sitting at about $45,000 cash in the account. So that was higher. We saw it go down last year, the revenue not being collected, but we're hoping to catch that up this year. We're past the time period to recognize the 2025 revenue as 2025, so we may see quite a bit more in 2026 if we can get that 25 and 26 stuff back on track that we're not going to expect to see ongoing, because typically it's just 1 year worth of revenue at a time. But the next one to the left, unless anybody has any questions on the bid fund, would be the 501 Capital Improvement Fund. That one's easy because there's nothing in it. Like I mentioned in the revenue, the only things we're still really actively doing out of this fund right now are the Light Up Our Town expenses and the Macaulay's Vision Fund. Whatever we do spend out of it will come from those revenue sources, so we'll address that when and if they're ready to do that for the year. The other one I would jump to, we're gonna skip past water and wastewater for now. The 612 Solid Waste Fund. We are anticipating a change, or maybe an extension with the current provider, but a new request for proposals for our garbage services in 2027. We'll be working on that the last several months of this year. I did estimate using what we know for now. So since 100% of the collected revenue goes to the provider, any change in the expenses will be offset by a change in the revenues. The big thing that's coming out of this fund in 2027 would be $24,600. That is a good solid bid for 300 new totes, residential garbage totes. We got a bid for 100, 200, and 300. And the cost per can, because of the delivery charges, is significantly less for the 300. We can store them. We wondered why we got 300 the last time, and then after I got the quotes, now I see why, because I think it was 42% of the cost for 100 cans was shipping. And so we had them also look at 200, 300, and 300 makes the most sense. It's estimated about $82 a can. The last time we purchased it was about $69 a can. So.
Where do they come from? I have a
Toter
car trailer.
waste equipment? Oh, where do they, yeah.
Go get them.
So we
I could
can,
ask them if you could come get them if you're seriously interested. We could save, I think it's about $4,600. I can pull up the
are we
estimate.
completely,
I'm not sure, let me look.
we completely out of totes?
No, but we're low, and we do need more. And about 100 is what Charlie and Billy initially said that we
I've
needed.
got the same one when they handed them out.
Oh, well, you must take good care of your garbage, so thank you.
Well,
Well, we do have a bunch
Just
of
sits
new
in the alley,
houses going in hopefully, and
All these windstorms, I know they've been changing addresses on a lot of days.
Well,
and-
wind's blowing up the window by the garage.
so they come from Texas, Del Rio, Texas. I'm not sure if that's where they ship them from, but just for an example, the totes are $62.35, but the shipping for 100 was $4,037. And the shipping for 300 is $5,886. So the, 1,000 more for 200 more totes, with the cost of the totes remaining the same, made a lot more sense to get 300, and we can store them. They're not gonna go bad, so.
Yeah, because shipping for us right now from
But
Central Valley.
Texas is a bit far.
Is $48.
I think more than one trip.
That's a lot.
yeah, well, and that's what they said with the fuel and the tariffs that
That's a lot.
So even with the purchase of those totes and the transfer out of 10,000, we're still projecting a profit in this fund of $4,700. So $310,300 is our estimated expenses in the solid waste fund.
So if the house is for sale, I thought they were supposed to like pick up the garbage cans if the house is
I was
no water bill and stuff?
Thinking about new homes that are being built in the Cascade Hills subdivision and in the Boulder Falls area.
Cascade Hill, so-
That's the Fall River Health Services, hospital, what do we, 42 new homes? or-
48.
48,
Up to 40.
up to 48 new homes there, plus the ones that we need.
Aren't they building them as people want them? So they might not be built for years.
Well, we can sit on these, like, the last time we ordered 300 was in 2021, I think. So, I mean,
2023.
oh, it was only 2023, so
If you go back in the dollar amounts, it has to be 22 or 23. They both have a,
didn't we get some more of our totes, the city trash cans in one of those years?
that could be.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, they're not gonna go bad.
They're easy to store.
Yeah, they stack. They were to store. We did double check with Billy before we looked at increasing the amount, and he has no problem storing them, so. And then the 701 fund, we'll always forget about, that's 1, 2, 3 over, that's the cemetery perpetual care fund. We have had projects budgeted for a couple years that haven't gotten done, which allows us to grow that spendable balance. We're still working and hoping to get the 2026 notes done this year. 2027, we didn't have anything planned, but we never did repair that collapsing wall. We have funds that we can apply, spendable balance from our perpetual care money. If we can find somebody to do that work, we'll address that at that time, because that was the trouble with getting it done. We had the budget of $7,000 in 2022, and we couldn't find anybody to do the work, so.
Where's this wall at? It's close.
In the old section?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you section by
Up
letter, but it
on
is.
top of the hill?
No.
It's right across the
Adjacent to
building.
the shop.
Yeah, it's close to the building.
It's just, I don't think, 200 feet to the north of the shop.
That's been going for a time. Did we discuss this?
A couple years ago?
I know where it's at, because it's collapsing into my family's lot.
Well,
And at some point, it would surprise me that caskets or whatever may show.
Bodies start rolling.
I don't remember a wall, and I used to take care of cemetery for 5 years.
You wanna go up and take a look?
You remember it when you see it.
It's only
It's
about
the
knee
east
high.
section, the east of section N. Yep.
All right, well, that is the list of my easy ones. We can hit the 212 fund for the next 30 minutes, if you'd like. I have yeses, so let's jump to our additional sales tax fund, which we'll probably have to come back to after we get through the plunge. But,
Is that clear back?
nope, it's coming closer, so yeah, you'll go back the way from the 701, go back.
And I will start us out here. I mixed up the dollar amounts for the fire hall stairs and the kidney
29.
spring stairs. So your 240,000, that is your kidney spring stairs, which is your first priority. And the 155 would be the fire hall stairs, which is second priority in the engineering plans.
Spring stairs for 240, and then the lowest cost stairs, the 155, are the fire hall stairs? Thank you.
Is that the total 440 we're looking at, or?
Nope, it's not the total, because 200 of that is road repairs. So the thought, and she is kind of giving you some room to prioritize which one,
Well, we're kind of on this one.
yeah.
We're under approve other than buildings?
Well, and we should stop start at the top. She just wanted to fix
The notes.
the notes, so 86,000 for services and fees, that's where we move the concrete crushing, and we bump the number up to 85. That hopefully will get us a good deal of the crushing done, but we have a lot, and that's something we wanna talk about.
You said service and fees?
Yeah, 86,000.
What about?
Well, that's because we moved 85,000, so now we're at 86.
Oh.
Are
So,
we on 212,
yep,
additional sales tax?
yep. And that one is one where we moved some money. We talked about it at the beginning, that some of the things had been moved.
That put 85,000,
It would-
300,000.
Yeah, 86
Oh,
total. It's 86
No wonder
total.
It's fine.
86,000,
Total.
90,000.
1,000 is for our annual bridge inspections, and 85 is for concrete crushing. And Ariel, you want to talk a little bit more about what our concerns are with that?
Yeah, so we,
Yeah.
it's 86 flat. We have been accepting concrete at the street shop for,
Years.
I don't know how long, with the idea that, well, we can turn it into millings. Well, it costs quite a bit to get it crushed. We have a lot of it from the road project. We have contractors bringing it in, I'm sure, that aren't even doing their work in Hot Springs, just like
Because we're giving them a free place to dump
just
it.
like the logs and the brush. So we probably need to have the conversation in the near future about whether you guys want to continue to accept scrap concrete out there.
Well, it's really
This
good.
time, we have enough.
He's interested in not accepting it, so.
Yeah,
say
that's
shut
what
it
I
down.
think. Yeah.
And then if we
Well,
decide
he
to
knows
reopen
better than
later,
us.
maybe we just reopen for city and
Well,
not allow
There is a
contractors.
secondary problem too, because when you're taking outside stuff, it doesn't necessarily mean all cement has rebar in it.
I was gonna say, is it clean cement or not?
Yeah, so it depends on what you're getting. If you're
Right.
getting something that has been overlaid, you know, and two flats together, two pads, you know, put rebar in it, so now you get twice the amount of steel that's in there, makes it that much harder to crush. So the cost of the crushing automatically goes up, and you end up with more debris stuck to the side, because it won't take, the machine won't take it, won't crush it. So now you have a pile of cement and steel mangled together, and you're stuck with that. Unless you go in manually and bring it up.
Remember
Well,
our
the manager knows that it's at a point he's gotta shut her down, shut her down.
Remember when I reported the concrete at the landfill in Edgemont? They couldn't find anybody to crush it because of the rebar in
Yeah,
it.
that's what I'm talking about, because in road,
Hopefully we can, if there's a lot of rebar.
in road construction, they had that problem because they would overlay, DOT would allow you to pin and overlay, so you have two pads there. Because the mats, the blacktop mats would even up the thing. But the problem is, they have no way of crushing it all, because actually there's so much steel, that it'll mangle the crusher. So they won't, the operators will not take it. So
Do we know if we have a bunch of steel or rebar in our concrete?
you don't really know until you start
Start
crushing
crushing
it.
Unless you can see it.
Yeah, unless you can see the separation of the pads, but usually when they cut them, when they're cutting them, like in DOT, when they're doing a highway, they cut them into slabs. You can see the pin marks in there, but depending on what you're getting, if you're getting somebody's old barn that they laid two foundations underneath it because they're sagging or whatever the case is, you're stuck with something that you can't do nothing with. And the only thing you can do with stuff like that is actually find a pit that somebody's wanting to fill and have a solid bottom to it. And that's even getting even harder to do nowadays because of EPA. So if Billy is telling you that it's not worth our headache, other than open to the city's reclamation, then I would say that we should go that route and listen to what he's saying.
I agree.
I agree.
I think we could get a lot of millings out of 85,000 that we're about to spend on crushing.
Clean millings.
Well, we're gonna be getting all those stairs to crush, right?
Yeah, and most likely you're gonna have like about maybe 10% worth of metal in that, and that's good, clean, usable stuff. That's really 100% crushed.
There's a lot of cement there coming, that's gonna really go somewhere.
So we're giving Billy the okay to stop taking concrete,
If you guys
period.
are all
And
on
then
board, I am.
I am also a little concerned about the comments about the rebar and how the Custer landfill can't find anybody to crush it. Did we get a solid quote or we just estimated?
We did not have a
We
solid
probably
quote.
need to start working on that sooner rather than later, because it's no sense budgeting for it if we can't get it done.
Well, Craig, to your point, and that what Custer Fall River Waste Management, that's what they were talking about, right? I remember that
Do
conversation.
they have a list of people that they did contact for crushing?
They didn't tell me.
I wonder, I can reach out to Starla.
It was-
Sorry, I think I would have a copy of that.
DOT would actually have a reference to people who do that because
a lot of it came from the road project, we took all that in, so. That's
But
probably
that-
why our pile is,
That highway right there was so old though, that you're gonna have less rebar to it. I think your problem's gonna be outside stuff being dumped on us. I think it's gonna be good.
So we're doing both stairs ourselves?
No,
Not a
No,
grant?
the contractor.
and we're looking,
Oh, I know,
we're
but-
looking, here, we'll get to that one next.
Oh, no
We'll-
grants at this point.
Yeah, Fall River Channel repairs 50,000, that has Warren Chemical spraying from Jennings to Minnetonka 2 times annually at 15,000 total, and then flood channel repairs of 35,000.
Frank ain't like that.
And then, improvement other than buildings, that's that 440,000 that we're talking about. That has 200,000, but you're supposed to remind me, we wanna change that to 300,000 for road repairs. And then, Ariel, if you wanna talk about where we're at on the stairs for Craig and what you're looking to do with this budget.
Before we go there, can I ask one question on the Fall River Channel repairs?
Yep,
That is what we just discussed with the Corps of Engineers?
yes, sir.
So
Okay.
that 35,000, my hope there is that that can be for actual wall repairs, not us paying someone to pull out trees or
Okay, that
stuff
was
like
gonna be my
that, the
next-
actual structural repairs.
Okay, that's what my question is.
And what's the other 15 for?
Spring.
So in
Oh,
2026, you guys budgeted to spray 2 times a year from Jennings to Minnetonka for cattails. Their prices have gone up. We're only gonna be able to get it done once this year. But I left that in there if you guys would like to spray again. I know there's controversy about, do we spray it, do we burn it, do we pull it out?
Is that the only vendor we looked at, or there's the only one that
That's
talked
the
to
only
us?
one that will quote us, because
Because
there
it's
are
a lot
some,
of-
the water, you have to have a
It's a lot.
special license, different chemicals.
And it'll kill all the hemlock? Or is it-
You're not gonna get it, you're not gonna get 100% kill with one spray, I'm gonna tell you that right now. You won't.
It's like tripling in the.
It's the start.
Because the spray, when you only hit it once or twice, you're only knocking out the top vegetation. But you're not getting to the root. In order to get to the root, you're gonna have to do probably 4 to 6 applications. And those are very expensive applications. And you were there, when we were walking and talking with Corps of Engineers, I brought up the fact that we used to go down in there and burn. And they said that you will not get a better cleanup than a burn. And all communities that went to spraying and hand vegetation removal have gone back to burn, because that's the only way to get a good cleanup.
We used to burn the river every year.
Well, not every year. Yeah, we burn.
Oh, Wasden Fire Department is every year.
But besides that conversation, you gotta look at the expense of what a burn is gonna be and what the expense of actual spraying is gonna be. And you're not gonna get better than about a 20 to 25% at best with the movement of water that we have here. You might get 30, and that's pushing it. You're getting 30% of what your expense is. You're not really getting control over this, just so you guys know.
So 30% on the burn and how much with the spray?
No, 30% on your spray.
On the spray.
You're getting 30%, you're getting 30 cents of your dollar. That's what you're getting at.
On a burn, you get 100%.
You'll get a better control on the cattails. But I'm gonna be very honest with you, the only way to get rid of cattails once it's in there is to go out and take it out by the roots. And in order for them to do that, if you spray, it makes it that much more difficult, because you still got what's on the tops, okay? Even though you chemically burned off the top, what you're seeing coming out of the water, you still got this much underneath the water. Because it's not gonna kill it all the way down. So if you burn it and you take all that top, the heat of the water getting hot is gonna be a better control burn. Then you can actually go in and dig it out with less problems than you could if you tried doing it with chemical. And the reason why they charge you so much money is because you have an open waterway in the public. And there's people that have access to that water up and down the river. And so you have to have a special license, you have to do it under special terms. So it's gonna be very, very expensive. We're only getting, at the very best, probably 30, maybe 32% of what we're spending on money.
So how would,
Yeah.
what would the cost of burning and who would do that?
The fire department has.
Fire
done it in the
department
past, and
uses
they're
it as
willing
a training
to
thing,
do it.
so there's a benefit for them to do it. I don't know if they would come back to us, I don't remember them ever charging us to
But,
do it.
well, we never did was in there, so I don't know.
In the years that, my first years of being on council and they burned it, they didn't ever charge us, because they always looked at it as like a course that they could take for control burns and stuff like that.
Went straight
So
in
it
the
was,
building.
it was a learning thing for them. And so it worked both ways, but, I ain't gonna lie to you guys, I've always thought that doing this chemical thing, you're just pissing your money away, is what it comes down to, very honestly.
When do they burn this, in the winter time, then generally?
Yeah, you burn it in the winter, and that's when you're getting the best burn out of it. But then, as soon as spring hits, that's when you want to go in and use the machines that we have to dig it up, dig out the roots. Because even though you chemically burn the top, you're not killing it. You're not killing it underwater. In fact, what it does is put it into an abnormal dormancy, and the root system will grow even more.
Do we have machines to dig it out, or we contract them?
Yeah.
We bought 4 of them 2
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Oh, those are the underwater weed eaters, but we do
And
have.
I'm told those are actually very dangerous.
They
So
are.
Well, why'd we buy 6
that we
of
don't
them?
just let anyone run there.
Yeah, you want to have somebody with a little more than just common sense to operate them, and you want to.
But that just cuts them too. The
But-
weed eater would just cut, we do have stuff to dig.
But the thing is, if we're gonna spend the money
Got
on that,
voters.
you might as well go and get the most for your money spent.
Sorry, Dave.
My recollection of when we burn is it's visually very quick. You look at it and say, oh, good, we've managed the cattails. Dave's point, you haven't managed a darn thing, because they're a bulb, and until you remove the bulb, they're gonna grow back. So
But it's easier to clean it up
It's easier to clean it up this
after
way.
it's burned.
It's a two-phase job, but just burning it, all you're doing is making it worse for you the following season.
Well, the tools that we got for it, they weren't getting down far enough in the mud, but they couldn't run it either, they couldn't get them started either.
And a lot of them said the biggest problem they had was they couldn't see down in there.
Right.
Because you still have so much vegetation.
And if you burn them down,
You get rid of that
you're
vegetation.
right to the water, you just dig them up or
Those,
do something.
those rotary scissors were never intended to kill the plant. They were intended to cut the top of them off, so that you could get into the river and enjoy it. But, so you get the bulbs out.
I would suggest we leave 50,000 in there for wall repairs and
Something.
something.
It'll be a decision we all have to make, whatever, I'm just giving you the information that I know I have.
It does sound like the consensus is the spray might not be the right option. So if we leave it in there, we can remove those notes and just say 15,000 for vegetation control. And talk more about this before.
I know we were just talking Jennings to Minnetonka, but from Minnetonka to the Braun, we initially had like 3 or 4 fronds of the pampas grass for Fermites or
And
whatever
they
it's
said,
called.
they said that's no big deal.
That farm grass is not a problem.
Well, now there's about 20.
But that's my issue with their comment, that that's not a problem, but yes, it is a problem, because when you start getting triple and double, because they pull up about 3 pups per year on their own. And so you figure what you have now, in 2 years, you're gonna have probably 5
Yeah,
times that much.
so we need to set some sights on that section.
Yeah,
just
correct me if
for
I'm wrong,
those.
Dave.
So we dig those
The
out.
county,
Build
you go
a
to Chautauqua, I mean,
Yeah,
the
right.
Hot Canyon, that thing is littered with cattails, so if that's gonna come down, we're just gonna continuously have a problem
This
over
is-
and over 3 years.
It's it's an invasive plant that's got into our waterway, and at this point, unless there was a concerted effort from the county and the city, and private property owners. Also, you're never gonna remove it 100%, but in order for us to control it inside the
A
city
lot of those
waterway
springs go back
floodplain,
up
that
behind
is what we
hills
need
there.
to do.
Yeah.
The county has done quite a bit of the canyon, digging cattails and stuff off the river. A lot.
From a 212 standpoint, are we okay on this number?
50,000, vegetation control 15, flood channel repairs 35. We increased improvements other than buildings to 540. 300 of that is for road repairs. And then we have some choices to make with the stairs, but we want to budget 240. So go ahead and share.
Right, so I've kind of given you the option. Right now, we know that we did not get the recreational trails grants, so the 215 as our 20% of all three, that's out the window. At least
Right
for
now,
this year.
we're gonna try again.
You can either do phase one, which is Kidney Springs, at 240,000, which that's been identified as the #1 priority. Or you can do the lowest cost set of stairs, which is the fire hall stairs at 155,000.
I'm really surprised that's cheaper, because they're further, they're longer stairs.
I am not sure why.
I think it's probably the simplicity, because isn't the length with the platforms and stuff of the Kidney Spring stairs you're calling them different than, these are just straight up stairs, right?
There's
One
platforms.
platform.
There's three,
platforms.
there's three platforms.
Two, oh, even with two. The stair, if you walk the stairs, the other stairs are more complex with the depth and the height of each stairs
I
and the
mean,
platforms
these
and the
were
locations.
engineered cost estimates from KLJ. I will say they're getting a little bit old now, because it's been a few years since we had that plan done. No, two.
2 years.
But we know how costs can go up, so.
And I guess the reason we thought it was important to put this, even though we didn't get the grants, to put the stairs in here is because we need to make progress
Yes,
on these
Well,
stairs.
I'll throw this out and you can do whatever you want to. Is Larry brought up a good point last time we discussed this, is if the kids have to evacuate because of an Alice incident, there is a sidewalk that goes both directions on University. If the school decides to send them down Hammond, they're going down,
Walking on the
they're
road.
walking down the road. And then if you just take into account normal pedestrian traffic, they're walking down the road. So I would throw out that we ought to do the Kidney Springs stairs first.
I agree.
That's what we talked about in
Any stairs.
Public Works, once we got all three bids, is that was the high priority one to do.
Well, the ones by the fire hall are also an escape route for the school as well, to come down that, and they've got fire station there, police station right across the road. So that's another outlet for
And without the
evacuation.
traffic from University, but I would agree that if we're just gonna do one, at least there's another option for that. We still wanna do those stairs,
Oh, sure.
but they're going on the road.
A block away, they have stairs down.
Yeah, I'd tear those out, just let them go down to Vida or the University.
I will also mention, it's very early on in the conversation, but I'm working with Amber Holtz to get some historic preservation money from the legislative sessions to possibly go towards these stairs.
Well, that church right there is a big draw with those Kidney Springs stairs also.
It's a functioning church too that needs that access.
So should we, change the 240 to just 200 and make it the fire, or the Kidney Springs stairs are 240? So we shouldn't change it at all. It sounds like we want to prioritize those.
Yeah.
I can take out the notes or the city share or whatever.
Are you talking about the 440?
It's 540 now, but I'm talking specifically about the stairs. So the 300 for the road repairs, the 240 for the Kidney Springs stairs, that brings us to our 540.
Yep.
Okay. And then principal and interest payments on our Boulder Falls special assessment, we're in year 10 of 10 on that. And then, so we'll no longer have the 24, 145 and the 335 of interest after this year, but we still, we're in 10 of 15 years for the sales tax part of the Boulder Falls Road project. So those two payments, knowing that one of them is gonna go away after this year. Then we have $7,125 for the local share of the parallel taxi lane extension design for 2028 construction. And then our Evans Plunge Mineral Springs subsidy that's currently at $198,780. With the addition of that $100,000 and our projected revenue for our 212 fund, we're looking at a projected loss of $69,702. As I mentioned earlier, did I give you the balance in that fund yet? The 212 fund has a cash balance a little over $4 million, so it could support a $70,000 loss.
What construction are we doing next year?
At the airport, we have in our master plan a parallel taxiway extension. 2027 will be design. It's 5% local, 5% state, 90% federal. So,
If you have the budget expenditure worksheet and you're keeping track, we changed the 1,000 in services and fees to 86,000. We changed the improvement other than buildings from 440 to 540. And we changed the transfers out. That was one we talked about earlier. We removed the subsidy for the golf course, so that one's down to $198,780. So my total after those changes is $939,937,000.
Run that by me again, Misty.
Yep. Services and fees changed from 1,000 to 86,000. And this is just on the expenditure budget worksheets. Your
86,000.
spreadsheet may have been a little different. So 86,000 for services and fees. We got 50 for the Fall River Channel, which is what we had before.
Right.
We just changed the notes on that one to say vegetation control of 15,000 instead of the spraying. Then our improvement other than buildings, we bumped the road repairs from 200 to 300. And we prioritized the Kidney Springs stairs at 240,000 for a total of 540,000. The principal and interest stuff stayed the same. The airport improvement project amount stayed the same. And then the transfers out, we changed to 198,780.
To a total of 939 what?
937.
930, I got 939, 937.
Sounds perfect.
PR.
All right, we made a lot of progress today.
I got a headache.
We'll come back to PD and donations and maybe 212 after we look at 602, 604, 620, and 621 Thursday.
Okay.
Thank
We
you.
have to have this done
We'll motion to adjourn.
Thursday because I'm going in for surgery
I
and I want it done.
Knock on wood, you come out of it.
have a
Ready for surgery?
good feeling we'll be done Thursday.
before 9.
Before 9, maybe even.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill wanted to say something. I'm sorry, Bill.
I wanted you to make a motion.